interview. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Ari Rose. I am a magician and mentalist based out of Orlando, Florida. I also co own a magic company called Nocturne Magic, and I'm also a professional dancer and professional model as well.
Okay, jack of all trades.
Yeah, I tried my best. I tried my best. What can
Right.
I say? Any artistic field is of massive interest to me. I love doing everything and anything I can learn and get my hands on. I think it keeps life interesting that way.
That is true.
Yeah,
I've got couple different hobbies myself, so I get it.
that's
So
awesome.
let me ask you this: what started you into magic? What got you into it?
So I have an interesting story with magic and starting is and that story is the fact that I started out as an assistant. I worked for an illusionist for a little while. Didn't have the best experience with that, but it sparked a love of magic in me, and I just wanted to continue learning. I made some connections, went to my local rings and meetings, and just started learning and continued from
Okay.
there. Started gigging almost like a year, about a year in, or like half a year in. So
Wow,
pretty
that
quickly.
quick. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Wow.
yeah, I had a huge I dove head first and started learning, and all I've ever known is to do what I love as a job. So it's like, okay, we can do this.
Just dive right in.
Yeah, just
Next
dive
gen
right in.
spawn, what's up, bro? All right. So let me ask you a couple of questions. I'm kind of running this freelance
Yeah,
here.
go for
And
it.
playing cards. You do you I mean, see, I'm mostly a card guy, but I do other
Yeah,
stuff too.
yeah.
Uh what is your expertise? Like what do you fall into? I know you're amazing with coins for sure.
Thank you. Yeah. So I would say I fall a lot into coin magic, but I don't perform a lot of it. That's a fun fact. Is like a lot of what I do in like my performance sets and stuff is more mentalism, mental magic based. I do some card work as well. If you look at my social media, I actually work for a playing card company, like at doing social media
Right.
work for them. So I would say kind of jack of all trades in that way as well. But I would say I fall somewhere between some coin, like quite a bit of coin magic in general, like studying wise. I do perform some, but just not a whole lot. And mentalism, mental magic. Like I said, I perform I'm starting to perform a lot more mental magic stuff, and some of the things that we have coming out through Nocturne Magic, the company I'm co-founder of. I'm testing some of the stuff before we like take it out. Me and my partner Rocco are both testing out a lot of our stuff, and we're planning on launching in about June-ish. So
Okay. That's
yeah,
awesome. I look forward to that.
thank you. Super
Yeah, shout out to
exciting.
Rocco.
Shout out to Rocco. He should be on here maybe.
All right. That is cool. That is cool. So
Yeah.
uh what inspires you in magic? Like what artists out there inspire you? I know for me, you are a big inspiration.
Thank you
You're
so much.
amazing. I went to go see your show. You're great, and you
Thank
should
you.
do some more coin magic. I'm gonna throw it out there because
Thank
it's
you.
great.
Yeah. It's fun. I love like jumbo coins because the impossibility of it. I'm a very small person, about 5 foot tall, as you saw on stage.
Yeah,
So like you deal with massive coins and your hands are like this big, and it's just a very nice like juxtaposition, which is something that I'm all about. But I would say the people that inspire me the most. This is a very interesting question because I've worked a lot with Rocco. He helps me out on a lot of ideas I have and stuff too, and he's inspired me to be more creative. I would say like performance style wise, I've always loved like Darren Brown. He's been a huge inspiration to me. I really like a lot of the work of like Louis Laval, Luke Jermay, Peter Turner, all of those guys for like learning, and just the
definitely.
people
Yeah,
around me. Like having magicians around me has forced or not forced me but inspired me a lot like to improve technically. So there are different people that inspire me in different ways. Like I have a mentor, his name is Vicente, who has inspired me a lot in coin magic to continue pushing and get better with it technically. Rocco's pushed me to be creative. You have performers that you see like Darren Brown and Peter Turner and Luke Jermaine and Louis Val and all these people that you see perform, and you're like, okay, that style I like a lot, which is really important to find people that like their performance style inspires you to maybe take a little bit of that and be like, okay, how can I put my own spin on that?
Right.
So yeah, I'd say that's a very long-winded answer, but that's kind of how I view it. It's
I
different
uh,
aspects.
I get it. I find like mentalism is a bit difficult to practice, you know. I mean, you can't like,
Yes,
you know what I mean? You can't like show the same type of stuff over and over to the same people. So it really
exactly.
forces you to get out there. And I've been getting into a little bit of mentalism myself, and
That's awesome.
it's
Yeah,
pretty dope.
it's definitely one of my other mentors I want to say is Ken Nepper, and his work is like some of the foundational stuff of mentalism. And yes, I would agree like mentalism's an interesting thing because a lot of the stuff that you find that's out there, you would have to learn a lot of that material in order to be able to have a good repertoire. I find it's a good base for creativity.
Yeah,
And I say that
definitely.
because, like, when you saw my show, you probably noticed a lot of it's like mental magic style or mentalism
Yeah,
style effects. That's because I found it as a good basis for creativity and to be able to create a message around what I was doing, like have a few little heartfelt moments here and there because I'm big on that. But also to like entertain people and bring them back to a simpler time, like childhood, with like I do a bit with lollipops and stuff like that. So it is an interesting thing to learn with that, I think, because it is a good base, but it is more difficult because there's probably also less material on that, I would say. There's a
I
lot
think
of
less
principles.
people perform mentalism than anything else, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a little bit more difficult to get into, which makes it, you know, that's actually something that I've been interested in because, you know, the less that people do things, the less you're going to see it, the less common it is. But I find
Yeah.
statistically, people like mentalism more than any other aspect in magic.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing too because depending on how you what your character bases their ability off of. Like some people base it off of mind reading, some people base it off psychology, which there is a very heavy amount of psychology involved in it as well. The subtleties you'll pick up on mentalism is a lot of psychology based, science based things. Some people like Banachek
Right,
choose to go with that character. Mine, I try to avoid saying I can read someone's mind because it sets up an expectation and then
right,
they'll question you later on. I always say, like, I'm going to use intuition to try to read
right.
your mind or try to understand, like, what you're thinking. And I find that's a really helpful reframe for me. But yeah, it's a much more rare thing, and the information available on it. My advice to anyone that starts out mentalism and starts learning it: learn principles. Don't learn
Right.
tricks. Learn the principles behind the tricks that you
Fundamentals.
see, fundamentals, exactly. And even like if you're getting your lectures from someone like Penguin, a lot of those lectures, like the Penguin Live lectures, have a lot of technique behind them. They also have a lot of principles behind them. So like the parts that we would typically skim over as people, we just don't want to listen to someone like talk for a long time, which is funny because we're live
We're
on
doing that right
YouTube
now.
right
Yeah.
now, and that's exactly what everyone here is doing.
Listening to
Um,
us.
exactly. Don't skim past those points because those are where the gold bits are, as well as old books. Old mentalism books have a lot of really good
I get
material
it.
and principles. There you go. You got a good collection.
I love my books. I wish I
Yeah,
had more time to read them all. That's the
same.
hard part.
It is really hard. Especially like when you're learning new things and stuff like that. Scheduling out time, especially if you're gigging or you have a full time job or you're doing all of the above,
Yeah,
scheduling out time to practice and do things can be very difficult. I find jam sessions really helpful, but also, yeah, like sitting
for sure.
down in a spare moment that you have, just hitting the books or even looking up like old school books. A lot of Animan's work I found is public domain.
I've got hell of anime
Yeah,
back
you
there. He's
got
amazing.
that. Yeah, it is amazing stuff. I
Yeah,
found like PDF documents on it sometimes on like the internet. If you search hard enough, you can find PDFs as well. If you don't want to have like physical books, if you don't have the space, like you live in a small apartment like I do, you don't have a lot of space for books. So you can also do PDFs, which is helpful. Although the registration in your brain, sometimes you
it's not the same.
need. it's not the same. So for me, the most interesting thing was figuring out how to basically dual stem of some sort while I'm doing it. So if I'm reading a PDF or watching a video, in order to get the information to stick, I'll do a physical slate with it. Because I do both magic and mentalism is a very helpful way for me to retain the information. It's like I have to be fidgeting like rolling a coin or doing a coin slate while I'm watching a video on mentalism if it's not like a super involved thing, if it's theory or like anything, if it's
That's
something I already
interesting.
know, but it's there's something about, and there's scientific evidence to support this. There's something about, someone told me once, about like flipping a page on a book that makes your brain catalog that information. If you're reading a PDF or watching a video, your brain's not cataloging it as well. So you sometimes need to do something physical with it to be able to retain that information. If you're like me, that's how my mind works.
So
So
in a
it's,
way, it's kind of like mnemonics, right?
yes, kind of like mnemonics. It helps to have that association with something, and then sometimes if you like repeat the move after that, or someone brings it up, your brain's like, oh, that thing. That was the thing that we learned about. I remember now. Because we all absorb so much information, especially if you're a magician or a mentalist. You absorb so much information at one time that
Oh man,
sometimes your
tell me
brain
about it.
like needs time to process that information, and then like a month later you're like, oh, I can retain that at will now. Or someone says something and you're like, oh, I learned about that, here's all this information that I had on it. It's kind of how
Yeah,
I'll be sometimes too.
yeah, I 100% agree with you there. I can relate to that. Um, like I'm still uh, I'm still struggling through pneumonica, like
So
trying to
yeah.
get that down. And I can recall them. Okay, I can recall them, but like it takes me a while, like in my brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, but
uh
yeah, that. But that's
yeah.
interesting. I'm actually gonna try what you're saying there. As you're reading, practice some slides at the same time
Yeah,
simultaneously.
it can
That's an
sometimes
interesting
help a
thought.
little bit. Yeah, especially if it's like a virtual thing where you're not actually physically having something there where you can like trace or flip the page or really pay attention to those things. Because I have a lot of stuff online, and that's how I've been able to retain a decent amount, as well as just like going over it on occasion. And we all forget so much information until
I
it comes
literally
up again.
forget more than I remember. One of the
Same.
things that
I think
helps me
that's a
out
typical,
is,
that's
and
standard human magician response. You
I
just
used to
you,
do martial arts, so I've been hitting the head a lot, and
yeah,
my memory retention is not that great.
yeah, I feel that.
So
I
I have
have
to
been
like
dancing.
reread things and go over them again. I'm like, I'll read something like, wait, I already know this. What's
Yeah,
going on
right.
here?
And then it's like, oh, especially if you're like creator or getting into creation or creating effects.
Right,
That can be really helpful because you have to have that pretty quick recall, a bit like a method. And then if you don't have, if you can't figure out the method, then definitely ask someone or ask a consultant
right.
or have them consult with you and do something. I'm a big believer in that, like having someone help you out with those things. But I agree, like, yeah, it can be really hard and I'll forget a lot of things too. I've danced for 20 years of my life and
Oh
there are
wow,
still things I forget.
that's crazy.
I
Wow.
Yeah, I've been a professional dancer since I was 18, so about 6 years, and I have just danced since I was like 4 years old, so I'm 24 in case anyone's
Oh
having
wow.
trouble doing that math. So it's a very interesting thing because that's helped me a lot in magic as well. It's allowed me to forget, or not forget, allowed me to remember things pretty easily, and that might be part of like the physical thing that I was talking about too. It's like that thing triggers you because like I need to be doing something hands on. I'm a very like hands on person when it comes to magic. I need to have my prop in my hand and watching a video if it's something new to understand how to do it. But if it's a principle or technique or something like that, that I kind of already know, having that physical um, feedback helps. But that could probably come from dance as well. But it helps a lot with um, also being able to understand staging on different spaces that you go to. Because, like, a
Right.
lot of being a working magician means that you're going into different spaces. So you're going to people's houses. You're doing a parlor style show in someone's house and you have like maybe 5 feet of space. and you've got like a table or two
That
tables
sounds
that you have set.
like a small nightmare.
Yeah, it is a small
I've mostly done
nightmare.
like walk around and street type magic. So it's for
Yeah,
me it'd be like pocket space. What am I
pocket
gonna take
space.
with me? How I'm gonna utilize what's on my body most of the
Yeah,
time, you know?
and I would
But
say like
that's a whole different monster there.
oh, that's a whole
Yeah.
both of those are whole different monsters because I've had
Yeah.
experience with both, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because as a girl, your pocket space is even more limited. So you have to figure out,
That's why you
okay,
got
I'm
that
gonna have
jacket drip all the time, huh?
yeah, exactly. I'm always wearing a jacket because it gives me extra pocket space. I have a lot of my wardrobe choices are very strategic. Means like I find a pair of pants that has pockets, I'm wearing that pair of pants because it's got back pockets, front pockets, in different places I can put things. But
Well,
also
I
learning
couldn't tell.
things.
You have a great sense of style. That's actually one
Thank
of the
you.
questions I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. My style is all me. I mean, it's well, it's not all me. My mom has always made me clothes when I was growing up and stuff too, and even
Oh,
as an
really?
adult, she helps me out. Yeah,
Oh, that's
because
cool.
being very petite too, it makes it difficult to find clothes that fit, and especially cool clothes because like I do
I
still
think I have
fit
the
in the style.
opposite problem.
Uh, but it helps because like sometimes your jackets and stuff like you can definitely find things that have pockets. Sometimes I'm like, I need pockets in this thing and I can't put them in. Can you help me? Or you figure out how to put them in. Um, but hiding different things and loading your pockets is nice if you have like looser fitting garments as well. It
That's
helps too.
actually something I've had a thought about for about the past 3 years is specifically a clothing line designed for magicians
Yeah.
for special things, whether that be reveals or secret compartments. I always
Yeah.
thought that would be a great idea, and nobody seems to really have that unless it's something I haven't come across.
Yeah. I've come across like reveal things and stuff like that. But
Right,
like
little
hidden
stuff here and there, but
compartments,
like a
yeah.
whole line
That
dedicated
would be nice
to
to
men and
have.
women magician would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, and to make it, like, gender neutral and unisex would be really helpful, come out with, like,
Yes,
cool
yes.
jackets and stuff that have customized, because like, people have vests that have pockets in
Right,
them,
right.
but it's like, if we could make a jacket where this whole section's lined in pockets already, you don't have to buy a new one, and carry
Exactly.
as inclusive of a size line as you possibly can, because you
Multiple
have people on
styles too, you know?
exactly multiple styles, because
Right.
everyone's got different styles. But if, as far as yeah, as far as my style goes, a lot of it is strategic, but it's also like this is the way that I dress on a regular basis. This is it's probably a little bit more like theatrical. Obviously, like when you go on stage and stuff or performing, you wear something that's a little more theatrical or a little more bold.
Right.
But I would say as a on a day to day, like the dark colors and the different hairstyles and stuff like that is just my style, and that's a whole thing with me too.
Something a
Is
little
like
attention grabbing, right?
yeah, something a little attention grabbing, and I mean it's just by design. It's always how when I was younger, it was how I wanted to dress, but I never really had like the confidence to dress the way I wanted to. And then as I got older, I finally developed that. And then I found out, oh, by the way, this is like really good for magic because it makes you unique, which wasn't even a thought in my head. I was just like, this is me. Because one of the things is, and this is like kind of counter to a lot of, you'll hear different opinions on this, but my character is an amplified version of myself. Um, and what
That's something I was going to ask you about too. How did you
sorry,
find
I'm
your
just gonna
character?
cover
Because that's
like
a
all
big
the
thing.
things. Yeah.
You're going out for it. Do it. Go for it.
Yeah. So my character is an amplified version of myself. I may eventually come up with different characters, but really each character that you develop yourself is a version of yourself that exists there. It's just something that you haven't figured out how to portray yet.
Right.
So like Ari Rose that you see in a commercial show is very much more of an amplified version of me, maybe a little bit more excited, a little bit more enthusiastic, a little louder, but still with like these little soft moments and heartfelt things and things of that nature because that's really important to me. If I do a different show that's maybe less commercial, more artistic, which is something that I eventually want to create, I want to create a show that's just all about connecting with my audience in a personal way and having just very human moments and human emotions and taking people on a roller coaster of that we all experience. Um, and even like a darker character, if I ever chose to come up with that, like a kind of weird, kind of quirky thing, it's all elements of yourself just put in a way that is possible to express in an easier way. Because sometimes our emotions are not the easiest thing to bring forth into the world because we're afraid of
To
judgment.
convey to the audience, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you can convey it to an audience in a way that feels not as judgmental, if that makes sense, because
Right.
you're playing a character, so that emotion is that character even though it is a part of you. At least for me, that's how I view it a lot. But I found it easiest to have a character that is similar enough to myself, just more amplified. I've tried on different things to see what I liked, what I didn't like. And sometimes you'll have clients that request like specific characters as well. I had someone that I worked for an entertainment company for a show, for a cabaret show, and they requested I be the Queen of Hearts. So I put together
Oh,
an
so
entire magic act. It was like a 10-minute act that was the Queen of Hearts themed. All the tricks were themed to it. The character was there. The costuming was there. The whole thing was a character. And character development is something that was pushed early on for me. And I'm really grateful for that because it really is a basis on a lot of the things you'll learn too, or you'll see things and people will teach you things and you're like, that's great. That's cool. That works for you. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work with my character. And it's good knowledge to
right.
have. Continue learning it, but if you are just starting out, learn everything you can. But if you know what your character is, it also helps you to have that knowledge still, but know what you're going to perform.
I've
And
definitely come across many tricks like that where I'm like, would I really do that? You know,
exactly.
but like you said, it's good to learn the principles behind the things. It's good to learn because
Yes.
you can also might, you might find a way to utilize that in the future to where it would
Yes.
suit your character.
I've had things like that where I was like, oh, I have this idea of something I want to make and create that is based on that principle. It's like, okay, there's like this doll or something or a voodoo doll or something that's not my style. How can I make it my style? What's something I had a fear of as a kid or is something that relates more to the way that I am? Because I don't do, despite my appearance, I don't do dark and spooky magic. It's not my style. So I kind of go towards the opposite end where it's like this childlike wonder in these very, that's my Aikido box.
That was magical.
It's magic. It's more of this like lighthearted and loving and caring and bright and bubbly, which is kind of how I am. Especially my commercial work. That's very much like this is me, and this is like let's go back to our childhoods and all be friends and happy and loving because we don't have enough of that in the real world. And I want to bring that back. I want to bring you back to a simpler time where everyone was loving and kind, and for you to feel like you're in a safe space. When I'm performing, I want it to feel like you are loved and accepted and cared about. Even if I'm doing like this crazy thing that like is maybe the most simple or most commercial effect you can have, I still want you to feel like comfortable. I want to
Right.
come up and be like, I'm your friend. I may be a performer, I may be a magician to do this thing, but I'm also your friend. I'm a human being and I want to relate to people on that level as well. We're all humans, we're all people, we all have surprisingly similar experiences. When you actually look at it, it's like everyone's encountered certain things in their life that they can relate to. And
That
figuring
can
out
be utilized in mentalism to a great
it
effect.
really can. It really can. And there are certain techniques that do rely on that specifically
Right.
actually. When you go down the line of mentalism, you learn that. It's like, okay, there are common threads among people. And it also helps with the storytelling element of it as well. It's like you can really create stories that are based on your own stories, but simplify them down to the base principles of it to create a very universal experience story.
Right.
It's very, very fun basis to start with, I say.
I end up going down like so many rabbit holes. One of the rabbit holes that I found very interesting is like exposing fake psychics and mediums So if you're interested in mentalism, that's a fun rabbit hole to go down because the
Yeah.
some of the things that they use could be utilized in a different way, not so
Yeah.
manipulative, but for entertainment purposes.
Right. Yeah. You see
Definitely.
that happen a lot. A lot of people do. That is a very interesting rabbit hole to kind of go down and learn about. Um, they're all fascinating, honestly. The things that people have gotten away with will also give you a good example of like what you can do with
Right.
it if you have enough guts to do it and also like enough coverage and things like that. And there are people that do whole shows based on that theory as well.
Yeah,
Um,
sometimes you got to take risk.
yeah,
I've learned that that can pay off big time.
oh, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of things that exist in magic and mentalism that do require a lot of risk taking, and the payoff is usually worth it. You may fail a lot. I'm warning you now. There's been a
I've been
lot of
there.
times where um, you will fail on those fronts, and you just take that information, run it through your head, be like, okay, this is what needs fixed, and then just go and fixing it. But
Speaking of that, uh,
also having as a
failing.
magician. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this thought off. Speaking of failing, like it's you often like practice with your friends, family, coworkers, right? So those are the places to experiment and fail, right?
A
So
hundred
it's so
percent.
funny because I'll do something for somebody random that I don't know, and I'll kill it, and then I'll do something for someone that I failed 50 times to, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and it'll be the
Yeah,
same exact effect, you know?
yeah. That's the
Right?
big thing. I think people that are close to you also know a lot more about you. So you can
Right.
get away with a little bit less because they know when
Tell
you're doing our
you.
questionable business that we got to do behind the
I'm
scenes.
I'm gonna read your mind. Shut up. No, you
Shut up.
don't.
No,
you
you're
know?
not.
No, you're not. Come on, you're not gonna do that. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's funny.
yeah. That's a big thing. Like, yeah, they know your tells, they know your signs, they know what you're doing sometimes. And
Yeah,
depending on how often you do it, yeah, it'll happen and it'll fail. And that's okay. Those are the places to fail.
yeah.
And sometimes you'll fail even if you are doing a professional gig. And
Oh
that
yeah,
happens
for
too. And
sure.
that's
It
okay.
does.
You know, it's
That's where
helpful.
you have to jazz it up a little bit and
Yes.
see how can I recover. And I've been there. I think we've all been there from
Yeah, I
time to
think we all
time.
have been there.
Yeah,
It's nice if you're a magician, you have what's called outs sometimes, and it's little backup things. Those are
yeah,
important to have, especially if you're into mentalism. Um, just having little things that you know work or ways
right.
to get out of things if it's failing. Um, but failure is a part of the process, and it's taken me forever to learn that, and I'm still learning that and learning to accept that. And I don't know about you, but I'm extremely hard on myself, and people have had to teach me not to be so hard on myself because I'm like,
I am.
"Oh, I did this wrong and that wrong, and everything could have gone so much better." And people are like, "No, it was good. You may have messed up, but like,
Right.
believe me, it was not as bad as you think it was."
You can get a little down in the dumps sometimes.
Yeah,
When you make a mistake, or especially if you're performing for people out in the real world. But you shouldn't, because those are tiny steps towards gaining that progress. And
exactly. Yeah,
I've learned so much in a short amount of time. Uh, yeah, I've only been performing magic for about 7 years. I mean, I did some in high school, but I don't even count that, because there's
yeah,
like a large gap between that. So
yeah. A lot of people
yeah,
take a gap.
yeah,
Same. I have not been doing magic for that long, and I'm very open about that. I've been doing magic for 2 years,
that's
but I,
absolutely amazing.
thank you.
I would have swear you've like been in it 10 years plus.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. I just absorbed and learned, and like I have that. It's a blessing and a curse, but I have that hyperfixation thing where you hyperfixate on one thing, and magic was
yeah.
that one
I
thing.
I hear that a lot.
And in this shocking process, like in those 2 years, I actually had a very interesting. It was a setback, and it wasn't a setback because it put me where I needed to be, but it
Mm.
also was a setback physically. I fractured my elbow.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, it was really extremely painful.
Is that
It was
from
not a com-
dancing or
no, so I was
no?
indoor rock climbing like an idiot, and it was the first time I'd ever done it, like indoor bouldering on one of those courses, and I wasn't tethered or anything. So I my arm gave out, and I fell on top of my left arm, which is the arm you hold a deck of cards in. It's the arm you do a lot of things with.
Yeah,
And
that's crazy.
it was not a complex, or it was not a compound fracture, but it did fracture like pretty severely. I partially tore a ligament in my wrist too, so that was like a really
Oh, wow.
rough thing. I went through rehab, but basically I had like, and I don't recommend this to anyone. Please do not do what I did. I fractured my elbow and I was in a sling, and I learned to do like some coin magic like one handed, and like doing it my right hand is my dominant hand, but like for magic you use both so much. um I did that and I had a deck of cards in my hand within like a week or two, just trying to like rehab it because I was like, I don't want to lose this thing, I love it so much. Don't be
Right.
me. Don't do that. That is not advised. Please, for the love of everything, be responsible with your bodies. um but it was a definitely an interesting thing to learn to deal with too, because like it means when I'm doing long spans of magic or like magic gigs or something, I have to take care of it a lot because it's still recovering. That was like last year, early last year, I think, like maybe April or so.
Oh, wow. It wasn't that long
Yeah,
ago.
it was not long ago at all. And so I still feel like some of the pain from it. And just learning how to deal with that. Like making sure I do my mobility exercises, massage it out, make sure it's looser. But there are still limitations. I can't palm with this hand.
Oh, really?
So you have to, yeah, you have to adapt a lot of things to it to make sure that it doesn't hurt so bad. That's actually why I stepped away from doing a ton of card tricks and stuff, is because cards actually are more straining than coins or mentalism on my
Okay.
hand. But still training those things and still learning enough card tricks. It's just why I kind of like, that was the predominant thing I first learned when I started close up, as most people do, and then kind of switched over to more coins and mentalism. But it led me down that path of learning those things, and everything that happens in your life happens for a reason. Always remember that. It may suck at the time, it may be awful, but oftentimes it leads you on a better path that you would never
I
expect.
can't agree enough.
Yeah. I would have never expected to be where I am now with magic. When I started this, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be like a smaller time magician, or I'll just like do gigs and I'll be happy with that. And it makes me emotional sometimes thinking about how far everything has happened in such a short period of time. I got to go out to like Vegas and do attend Mystify Magic convention, which was a great experience and
That's
incredible.
awesome.
Yeah, I've gotten to do corporate gigs for like Arm& Hammer, the MPS Society. I've done for Polk State College. Just these wild experiences. I've made so many friends in this industry, and
That is a big plus. I've
yeah,
met a lot of really interesting people.
yeah, me
That is for
too.
sure. A lot of
Yeah,
really cool people that I talk to on almost a daily basis.
same. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing, and I'm actually going to be performing at my first magic convention this September out in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna be performing and vending as well. So I'll be vending with Nocturne Magic with Rocco, and I will also be performing my own act, about 30 minutes, at Magistrom convention out in. Pardon me if I'm forgetting where in Texas it is,
Now, I
but
was just
it's
saying,
gonna
I
be.
have a friend from Texas here.
Oh,
He's
that's
in the
awesome.
comments there, next gen
Hey, yeah, I
spam.
see that.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Hi.
cool
Make it
people.
out to
Well, if you're
Magistrom if you want.
wherever it's at, make a drive, bro. It's worth it.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. Believe me. I'll definitely recheck because I don't know why I'm forgetting where it is.
It's
I'm
because you
terrible
have
with
all the
like
magic up
directions.
here. All the
Yeah,
stuff you have
yeah,
to
it's all
remember.
the
Trust me.
magic up here, and also
Yeah,
like the peopling and like just everything all at once. But those experiences and being able to travel and just meet people, like I met someone yesterday that was really cool, and he was a mentalist, and it was such an amazing experience. Like
I'll get back
you,
with you on that, big dog.
yes. I will let him know and he'll let you know. It's just, and there's so many connections too. Like one person, that person knows this person, and they connect you with that person and that
Yes,
person, and they're like, "This is where you need to go to get this information," and it's it's such a cool thing. It's so cool.
I've just recently been like getting into like stage props and kind of learning a little bit about how those things work,
Yeah,
which is cool because that was like totally out of my field. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like completely out of what I do. So that was an interesting thing. You know, meeting people that do these types of things.
yeah, yeah. Stage stuff and parlor stuff is definitely a whole
Yeah,
other ball game.
it is.
I find a lot of things like if especially getting into mentalism, it's a great thing because it can play to a lot of different sizes.
Right.
And a lot of the methods don't really change too much. Sometimes you'll need a physical prop to reinforce that, which is another thing is like I find a
I know
lot
what
of
you mean.
audience yeah. A lot of audiences respond really well to having like a physical thing. There is a lot to be said about doing propless mentalism or minor prop mentalism and not having like a physical reveal or anything. But a lot of times, especially audiences that I experience a lot of them like the physical feedback too. Like you're showing them, hey, I got this thing, it's on this big notepad, or there's this big reveal on this like scroll that I had sitting here the whole time.
Well,
I find
you
a
know
lot
what
of
I
people
mean when I
respond
say
well.
sometimes the props are there and they don't really know they're there. So that
Yes.
kind of what plays into it too.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
yeah,
There's a
I've
lot
learned
of
some
that.
pretty cool stuff recently. Yeah, that,
Yeah,
that
that's awesome.
that's just like that.
Yeah, it's a very fun realm to delve into too. Like for a dance show that I'm doing 2 weeks from now, 17 days from now, let me specify. Um, I got asked to do the role of a magician because it's a company that I dance for professionally and they know that I'm a magician. They're like, can you do a magician role? And it is stage more so. So I chose a prop and I'm using the dancing cane and a couple other things
Okay,
within it.
yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah,
And learning those things for that has been really interesting because it's something that I don't work with a lot typically, and so learning something completely new and doing it with that is a lot of fun because it's also fun because you can kind of combine the dance skill with magic, which is something that people have told me I should do for a really long time. It's like you want to be you want to incorporate it, but it requires you learning a whole other style of magic that you're not super familiar with, which
that
is
is another thing. Like, there's certain things that some magicians, you've been in it for a while. Like, you'll look at something like, oh, it's that, but then
yeah,
like lay people love it.
yeah, exactly.
Or like, or sometimes people will scoff at like self-working tricks or things
Yeah.
that seem like they're really easy, like sponge balls, or whatever,
Right, yeah,
those type
yeah.
of effects that you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. But then when you see them actually be performed out there in the real world, people love it.
People love
So
it,
that's
and
yeah,
that comes down a lot to performance as well and performer.
yeah,
If you do a simple, you could do the most complex card trick ever with the hardest sleights. Let's just say card trick for all intents and purposes. You could do the most complex card trick with the most complex sleights and get a mediocre reaction. But you could do a self-working trick with so much personality and such a good storyline, you get killer response from that. So it really
absolutely.
is. And there's something to be said about like learn the hard things. Do the hard things if you feel comfortable with them. But also if you're performing, sometimes you wanna maybe your wrist hurts that day, like it happens to me sometimes. You're like, okay, I'm gonna take it a chill pill back and I'm gonna do this simple halfway self-working thing with a good presentation.
Right.
It's important to know both because sometimes like your body could betray you at any point too. Like your fingers as you age can lose like dexterity or you get injured or anything like that, and you need to know self-working things in case that happens or in case it's a crowd where you're surrounded everywhere and you're like,
Right.
I can't do this like that, I need to surrounding me. So both are important to know, and by all means continue working on the hard stuff. Like I'm a huge advocate for that obviously because it also makes doing the simpler things that much more impressive, I think, too, especially if you're a person that uses certain tools.
Right.
Um, when you're using those tools in combination with sleights and things to accomplish your effects, it makes it that much better. Like I am a big advocate for both doing it the hard way and doing it the hard way with a tool to help you, but also doing it
I
any
mean, I
method
see
is
what you
valid
mean.
method.
I've taken some self-working type of effects, and I've added things that are not self-working at all into them,
Yep,
and they just completely change the whole
it does.
trick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does, and that's such an important thing, I think, because like, yeah, I've done the same thing where I'll take like a self-working thing, but you add a mentalism flair to it, and then it's
right.
like this whole story for this really dumb thing you just did. And I've seen people and they fried me with it because there's power in that, like in that presentation or in adding things to it, which brings me to a very important point. Make your effects your own. I see so many people. There's nothing wrong with tricks out of the box, mind you, but make it your own. Take it out of the box. You can watch the scripting if you want, but take that scripting, see what you can modify to make it yourself, or disregard the scripting altogether, or even the trick
Yeah,
altogether. Just use the prop itself. Be like, what can I do with this?
I
What can I
often
do different?
improv scripting a lot of times, and then
Yeah,
sometimes
me as well.
I'll improv something, and I'm like, I feel like, oh, that works. I'm going to use that again, and I'll kind of use
Exactly.
almost the same type of lines again
That's
in further
that's the thing
tricks.
is like when you're first starting to get together your effects until you figured out your scripting and stuff like that. I like to go in with a baseline script. So I have this point, and this point I want to hit. All of in between can be jazzing unless you're on stage. Please script it out pretty well.
Yeah,
You don't have to
definitely.
script it out entirely. You have to leave room for byplay. That's an
Right.
important thing. But go in with a baseline when you're first starting out. See what works. And then make note of those jokes, those moments that happen. See if they work in situations. And it depends on your venue too. Because if you're
Right.
at a bar, you can make a joke that will fly. Great. But you go to a corporate event, you can't make that joke there.
Right.
It won't fly there. So it's very situational. But huge advocate for that, and especially with like some mentalism, some storytelling, some things that you're actually using valid methods for, like body language. Reading body language is a thing. Eye
It is.
movements is a proven thing as well. And those things kind of serve as a base thing. So you have that base scripting of what you want to do with them, and you have to go in with a base. Like you just have to be like, okay, whatever happens, happens. I'm gonna go do this, and we're gonna see where that scripting leads you. Because sometimes you can use your intuition too. It helps a lot. Come up with like, um, if you're doing a reading on someone for like a trick, or even not in a trick. Some people do like different types of readings as well as an additional service. I don't personally, but some people do. Um, those things come with a base, or you have a base script leading up to the point in which you're doing your reading, and your reading is individual to the person that you're with. It's
Right.
observation, it's learning what that person kind of looks like, gauging their reactions on their eyes, face, their body. How are they? Are they like this? That's more introverted. This is more confident and open.
Right.
There are so many different signals that can give you that information to be able to give a very good presentation. So I'm a big like base script person as you're working out your tricks. But definitely make them your own. Make it individual to you, make it fit your character. Don't just
I also think that helps a lot when it comes to choosing the correct people to perform for, or asking
yes.
people to help you with an effect.
Yeah.
I think that plays into it largely. Right?
That's a big thing too. Is yeah, like you look into your audience, and sometimes like even in shows that I do, some of them depending on the crowd and everything too, you can do a couple of different things to warm up the crowd, but also you're warming them up and you're also gauging out who's going to be a good
Right.
assistant, who's not going to cooperate with you. And yeah, part of it is reading body language and stuff, but like if you've ever seen like the finger magnets where you do this and they like go in, if you've ever seen that, or David
That's yeah,
Copperfield's like twisting arm thing,
yeah.
it helps you to know who's
The
going to
other
play
one.
along with it. Yep, that one or this
Yeah.
one where it's like the
Right.
whole wrapping thing. It helps you to know
Yeah.
who's going to do play along with you and also play
Are
with
you
you.
suggestible? Are you
Yes,
going to help me
exactly.
with this effect, or are you going to be a heckler?
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Exactly. And that's a huge thing, especially on stage. You do not want to have a heckler on stage. You could
No.
be the
I
best
mean,
person to deal with it, but you don't want it if you can avoid it.
I actually on Friday after the show, I went downstairs to the club that was there, and I did some
Yeah.
walk around down there, and it was so dark I couldn't see shit. But
Yeah.
I went up to a couple and I started, asking them, would you like to see something? And they she specifically, she gave me some trouble. Like I was like, oh, that's not my card. I know it was,
Yeah,
type of
exactly.
stuff, right? But
Yeah.
you're
I
gonna run
definitely
into that from time to time. But how I recovered from that specifically, I was like, okay, well, what was your card?
yeah.
A little call, a little pass, boom, there it goes. Then it went in straight into like an ambitious card
Yep.
routine, and so you can still kill with it.
That's the best get out of anything routine, arguably, is
Yeah,
ambitious. Because I've had similar things where I was like doing something and I had a particular card and I had them try to pick a particular card, but they're like, no, I want that one. And I was like, okay, we'll go with that one. Fine. We'll do it your way. And just go into that routine. And then after that, do what you were originally going to do.
right.
And part of being a professional is learning how to deal with those situations. Me particularly, yeah, I have a lot of hecklers, and it's can be. I don't want to say it's worse than like my male counterparts, but I definitely have some different experiences with it because
Really.
people will make comments that are absolutely like should not be said, or you kind of have these people that tend to be apprehensive because like even though I'm dressed alternative, mind you, that's usually not the issue. It's because I'm very like petite and I'm a girl, and a lot of people I find, especially like there's a particular demographic that I found, do not want to be fooled by this very small female because it like challenges their ego in a way. At least
I'm
I've seen
six
that from
foot.
the
You can fool me
psychology.
anytime. Okay.
Yeah, okay, awesome. I will definitely try my best. But I found that that does happen sometimes, or it's one of two ways. It's either people are very open to it because, like, I do look different. Especially Speakeasy being such a cool venue for me because it's like this is this like
Yeah, it's
gothic
dope.
bar and it's really dark. It's so cool. But even birthday parties, people are like, "You look really cool. I like that." But some people, like, if you're bar hopping or something, people sometimes will be like, or people will be just very apprehensive. And it is important to choose your audience wisely, know who you're performing for, and know when to
Yeah,
stop. Because, like, if someone's giving you a hard time,
that's
walk
important.
away.
Oh man, I
Walk
suffer from that
away.
one. Know when to stop. That is a very important one that I must. I mean, I've gotten better at it over the years. I was way worse
Yeah.
when I was younger, but like here, let me show you another one. Here, let me show you another one. No,
Yeah.
no, you've already set this in their
The
brain.
standard. Yeah.
Let it sit in there for a little bit. Let it
Yeah.
marinate.
You got to sit it, let
Right.
it marinate, and you can't keep hitting them with wonder.
Exactly.
And it's something that I'm still learning too is like when to pause, when to take time, when to let it absorb. Because sometimes if you just continue doing thing after thing after thing, it's like too much amazement for them.
One
Um,
of the things I learned. I don't want to throw a lot of stuff out here. Daniel Madison has this effect. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, where the
yep,
corner piece ends up somewhere. I
yes,
don't want to
yeah,
go
yeah,
into
yeah. I
details, but
totally know what you're talking
one of
about.
the things that he said that I've killed so many times with that type of effect is leave it in their hands and just walk away. Don't say anything.
Yeah,
And
that's a
it's
good.
hilarious. I'll
Yeah,
walk away and then you just not I'm not even paying attention to the reaction, but you just hear it in the background.
yeah, yeah.
And it's pretty it's funny.
That's a
I love it.
great thing. Also,
Yeah.
Daniel Madison's work is great too.
Yes, he is.
I love his like videos and the way that he puts them together. It's a big thing. It's actually something I eventually want to do for myself as well, is like create these very artistic and like intricate videos because I love that style of like cinematography and things like that too. Because like I
I
do a
can't
lot of
watch his
social.
videos sometimes because I end up looking at the mirror more than I'm looking at him. If you know what I'm talking about,
That's
I gotta
fair.
watch
Yeah,
this.
no, some of his videos are
Yeah.
like that, where it's like trippy and you gotta watch it like 5 times to be like, oh, 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 okay, that's what's happening.
Who is
Um,
this Susan Sausage? Can I meet
exactly.
her?
I love that bit so much, and I
Yeah.
like a lot of his work too because it relies on. I think we're mostly magicians here, so I'm just gonna say it. Um, like it relies a lot on like cops as opposed to like poems, and
Right.
I have small hands. It makes life a
He
little bit better.
he is so yeah. I'm. I love using Gambler's Cop, for example.
Same.
I'm still practicing my one-handed top arm because I'm
Yeah.
like, that is so useful. I really need to get that down.
Yeah.
And I did it, a bunch of times like last night, and then for some reason, like I just kept failing over and over. Like, why can't I do it now? I was just doing it. What's happening? So I'm gonna
Right.
let it marinate.
Sometimes, yeah. And that's an
That
important thing
helps.
too is yeah. I find this is weird. I'll like take in a lot of information. I'll practice a little bit, get it in there, sleep on it, and then come back to it the next day and all of a sudden I can do it. Your
Yeah,
brain is very smart like that. It will
it's a
marinate
weird
that
thing.
information while you sleep. You actually process the most information ever, and that's why we have dreams. Your brain
Yeah,
is actually processing everything from that you've happened during the day, oftentimes, and while that's happening, it's just like kind of drifting off. So it's a really, really useful thing too, especially because like your hands get like cramped up or tired or tension, and when you have tension in your hands, you
yeah.
can't really do the things that you need to do, which is an important thing too, is take care of your hands. Try to massage them out. If you have dry skin, know that. If you have like not
Lotion.
dry
Yeah,
skin, know that too, because like I don't tend to put lotion on my hands because I have drier hands, but I don't like the way it affects my palms and my handlings on things. So I tend not to do that. But if I'm
if
doing
you
like
if you do, what I've noticed, like if I put any type of lotion or moisturizer or whatever, that I then immediately like dry it off with a towel
yeah,
like
you wipe
thoroughly.
it off and just
Right,
leave
and
that
then
little
your
bit of
hands
residue.
just they're tight, they're somewhat moist. I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah, I know what you mean.
they're not dry, but they're, I don't know,
They're like tactile enough that it's not an issue.
tactile.
Like,
That's a good word. Yeah.
because there's that stuff that you can use that I have used before where they use it to like count money and stuff. It's that like
Right.
pink stuff,
Yeah.
and I have used that in doing. I was learning what's called an angel in cardistry, like just how to do an angel, which is basically where you just stick a card to your thumb. And I was doing it to learn what's called a broken angel, which is a move in cardistry, which I dabble in a little bit. And like I could not get it to stick, so I used a little bit of that, and it worked. But at some point, I was like, when I was doing magic, I was like, I don't like the way that feels. So, as gross as it is, just a little spit on your finger will do a lot too.
Man, let me tell you, there's yeah,
Yeah,
there's
there's
so
some
many things
uses
you
for
could
it.
yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of uses
There's a
for
lot of
something like
things.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I can
And
think of like good. Yeah, I can think of a
yeah,
couple.
there's a lot that it can be useful for things like that.
Yeah.
But especially because you don't oftentimes have time to like put anything on your hands or anything like that. Like I'm in the middle of
Right.
a 3 hour gig, it's like I don't can't reach into my
Right.
pockets and get that, and in the back, like they're like, "What the heck is that? What are you doing? Like we hired you to do magic. Go do magic."
Hold
I'm
on a
just
second.
hold on a second. Let me just warm up the magic.
Gotta stay moisturized.
Yeah. Especially in Florida, because your Florida is a very interesting beast in its own of doing
Yeah, it
magic.
is.
You learn very, very quickly.
Humidity. Card magic and
Humidity.
humidity are not friends.
They are not friends at all.
Oh my
Coin
god.
magic is not your friend in humidity, and you think it'd be better. It's not. Your hands stick. Cards get destroyed very quickly. I found one brand that I like. A lot of people use plastic cards here, which is also a valid thing. I don't like the way they handle. I like Black
Me
Rose's
neither.
playing cards. Yeah, I like Black
I
Rose's
love
playing
black
cards
roses. Oh
as
my god,
demonstrated by
what a
their sister
coincidence.
innocence deck. Yep, those are
Love
my
them.
workers cards. Those are what I use almost every single gig. And it's because their texture lasts longer than the humidity for me. Also, I have a
Interesting.
code for that, so RE10 if anyone wants to buy from Black Roses, you get a little discount.
I'll put it in the
Sorry.
description if you're watching this after it's live.
Thank you. Little shameless plug because I do a lot of social media work and that is
Yeah.
part of my marketing. That's part of the thing. I work with a lot of different brands and it's a blast and it's also been very helpful to learn a lot of different things and be like, oh, I have this idea. Let's experiment on social media and see how it plays. Um, I was
Yeah,
recently
I've done a little
featured
bit of
in
that.
yeah, I've recently yeah, you've been doing a lot of that too. I see your work. Doing great.
Trying.
Yeah, I know it's a struggle to keep up with too. Like I definitely find that,
I work
especially
a lot of hours, so
yeah,
like sometimes I'll come home in the morning, I'll just stay up You know, I work nights. I'm a night owl.
Yeah,
I'm a creature of the night, so to speak. And
same.
I'll try to stay up and film something. Sometimes I'll look back at it and I'm like, oh my god, you look like
Yeah,
shit. I look dead tired. Like, you
right.
know, but
It does
try
make
to
it
do
a
what I can.
challenge. Yeah, same. I do what I can. Um, I definitely try to like schedule out days when I'm not doing gigs or whatever. Try to get content.
Right.
Recently invested in a GoPro to do that because it's
I
definitely the
need to.
quality is so clean. It's worth the investment. Amazon also does credit financing on that, so you can like
Okay.
finance it throughout the months.
How
Um,
much do they run?
GoPro runs about 500 to 550 with
Ooh,
everything.
ouch.
Their new one. Because I have a GoPro, I believe it's a Hero 13 Creator Edition because it's made for social media. They will
Ah,
do
okay.
vertical shots, it'll do wide shots, it'll do pretty much everything. You need to buy an SD card separately. If you ever buy a GoPro, please know that because I did not, and then I had to go get an SD card too. So
A
it's
lessons
very
learned.
important. Yeah, lesson learned. But it connects to your phone and stuff, which is really nice and really helpful,
Okay.
especially since you do YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
I believe with one of their packages you can get with it, you can directly stream from the GoPro. So that's really
Huh.
a cool feature on it. Definitely
Interesting.
recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went on Amazon and got it and was just like, I'll just pay for it each month, build your credit too. So if you do good.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with like magic gigs, like you do certain get I do certain amount of gigs a month or I try to, but some months you might be a little short. And it's like, okay, I can still afford this, but I want to make sure,
Yeah.
because that is one of my primary sources of income as it stands. Like obviously modeling makes some like when I get gigs with that, but magic is like my primary source of income. So
That's another thing I was going to ask you about. You keep hitting all the points. You're making this interview extremely easy for me.
thank you. I'm happy to help.
So how did you get into modeling, and who's your photographer? Because you guys together make some awesome shots.
Thank you.
Um,
So, I've worked with a lot of different photographers
okay.
throughout the years. I got into modeling when I was dancing because someone was like, "Oh, I need a dancer for a photo shoot." Wait, let me get this story straight because there's like some overlap. It's really gets kind of confusing. I believe I did like one photo shoot with someone who wanted to photograph with a dancer, and then I went to go have what we call audition photos because I was auditioning for different companies and stuff done with another photographer. He referred me to this big group that does events with photographers and models and everything like that. And that's how I got started. And then I started working a lot with different photographers, and a lot of them will hire me out to be a model because it's a skill that I have learned and practiced and everything like that, just like magic, maybe a little less intensive practice, but you still have to practice posing and facial expressions and strength, and you have to
Right.
work out and you have to do all these things. You have to have a vast wardrobe to make sure you've got what you need. Um, so I started doing that, and then I'm signed with an agency as well for that. So I've done like Visit Orlando, Full Sail, and a couple other different things. I've done a hair show before. They dyed my hair and cut it. I've done different things within modeling, but it's been a lot of fun. And a lot of my stuff, some of it I've done with those things, some of it I do myself. Like if you saw the ones in front of a fridge dressed as a vampire, I took those. So
Yeah.
sometimes I'll experiment with doing it myself. I like to work with other photographers and creatives as well doing that. But
The Count Chocula was a nice touch. That gave me a chuckle.
thank you, thank you. I was like, I had these cards and I was already dressed for the video, so I was like, let's do those. Those
Huh.
cards are
Yeah.
available at playingcarddex.com, by the way. Very good website to get your
They
cards
actually
from.
have a store like 5 minutes from where I work.
Yeah, they have a
It's
store up in Lake
coincidentally.
Wales. It's a great
Yeah.
store. They're great people. And Natalie and Jim are absolutely some of the kindest people you ever meet. So
I'm gonna have to stop by there sometime.
definitely, definitely. They've got like the biggest selection. If you tell them you're a magician, yeah. Tell them you know
We'll hook it
me.
up then.
Yeah.
I will.
It's in Eagle Ridge Mall. So
Yeah.
if that helps at all. And it's over by
Oh,
what's
I know exactly where it's at. But if anybody's watching and you're in the area, go check them out.
Yeah, check them out, please. They are absolutely wonderful. And any deck of playing cards that you can imagine, they probably have it. They have a huge selection, so
I'm,
it's a
I
really
think honestly, I've been postponing going there because I don't want to like leave broke.
exactly the first couple times I
I
went
am
there,
like
I
a
was
playing card
like,
addict in a
"Ooh."
certain sense. Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say the first couple times I went there, I was like, "Ooh, this is so many. I like all of them, and I want all of them."
I want a
And
brick
it
of
was,
that, and I want a brick of that.
yes, exactly. It's like I want that and that and that, and then you find like your workers cards, and you're like, "Okay, give me an entire brick of those."
Yeah,
Actually, two. Make it two.
for real. I have, oh, I have a lot of cards. Too many
Same. I
cards.
think I've counted. I have over 100 decks of cards, which is like, I'm sorry.
I
I'm
think
sorry to my finances. Is really the fact of the
I,
matter.
I'm so bad with it. I have a whole cabinet here just like filled with bricks,
Yeah. Oh my
and it's just
gosh.
different stuff. Yeah, it's actually pretty bad. Like
Oh my goodness.
yeah, that's just like, yeah.
That's like the tip of the iceberg. I have little bins that are like divided bins, and
Do
there's
you?
like four of them, three of them, four of them over here.
Oh
Plus,
my
like a shelf that has like the aesthetically like nice lined up ones that you'll see in the background of my videos sometimes. And other, yeah, it's a lot. But I have a shelf of just black roses. And then I'll order like more of them because like the black and white black roses are the ones that I use to perform because the thin crushed stock I find it easier to handle.
yeah.
As much as having small hands is not an excuse, it is. And fight me, anyone that argues with me on this, because it makes it a lot more difficult to handle a thicker deck of cards.
Yeah. Well, I can see that,
Yeah,
especially
it's
for
like not an
palming and stuff
excuse.
like
Like
that.
you can work with a full size deck of cards, mind you, but for comfort's sake, I like the thin crust because it makes it a little easier to like just be able to
My
handle. In my
my
opinion.
father, he has small hands, and he tells me that all the time. He's like, "Oh, it's you're able to do that because you have such large hands." I'm just
Oh
like,
no,
"No, you could do it too. I promise. It just takes
yeah,
practice." Okay.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like a dollar coins. People are like, your hands are really small. How are you using that size coin? I'm like, practice. It's just like constant
Definitely.
hours and hours and hours busting your knuckles trying to figure out.
I definitely want to get into doing a little bit more coin work eventually.
Yeah. It's really good too if you have like a fidget habit like I do, where I just like can't sit still. Like you see me this entire time, I'm like,
I know I have like ADHD, and that's why I deck of cards. I'm messing with them,
yeah, you're always
whatever.
messing with them, just like
Yeah.
sitting there like ba da 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 da.
I know people are probably thinking like, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong
And
with this
it's
guy? He's
like,
over here
but see, like,
shuffling a deck of cards."
I'm shuffling, leave me alone. But I think like neurodivergence is such a common thing nowadays that like who's to say what's neurotypical? Because like it's just like I meet very few people that don't have like some semblance of either like ADHD or ADD or anything like that or on like the spectrum, and I'm just like I feel like that's become more normal now than like a neurotypical, and I think that those type of people have this theory that like people that are neurodivergent use more of their brains than people that are diagnosed or not diagnosed but like typical neurotypical, because the way that I say are because like I'm not diagnosed but like we're pretty sure at this point that I
Yeah.
may.
Yo, that's funny. Same boat.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
I don't take any medications or anything like that.
same, yeah, but it's like caffeine makes me focus and makes me able to stay on
But
track a
gotta
little bit
love
easier
coffee.
and stuff. Yeah, I like energy drinks, which is worse for you than coffee, but
Yeah, I work, factory work, so yeah,
yeah,
energy drinks
yeah,
is life
yeah.
water.
Yes, I feel that. Um, I just don't sleep, so I don't
Yeah,
sleep enough, mind you. I know that for a fact. It's kind of like drink a lot of caffeine and also like I have like this thing with my blood pressure where it like drops and then my heart rate goes up called POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
Does that make you
Um,
black out?
yes, it can. I don't
I think I
personally
might have
black
that.
out. That's the question because like your heart
Yeah.
will start pounding really hard and like you just kind of feel like
Cold sweats
yeah,
and
you get
like
cold sweats
can't
sometimes.
stand. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's a pretty typical, and I don't know if you've had COVID, but it's a comorbidity of having had COVID. It
I
can
think I've
develop
had
after that.
COVID. Probably.
Yeah, I've had COVID at least once diagnosed and once suspected after that. Um, and definitely got worse after that. But yeah, it can make you black out. I don't black out. I just kind of fall asleep. It's like this weird thing where like I fall asleep and I just can't.
Huh.
It's this weird sort of thing, and my solution, I'm on
I
medication
usually
for
call
it.
that depression. Just joking.
I mean that's happened before too. I
Right,
mean, I
right.
think a lot of artistic people suffer with a lot with mental health, and I think magic has been a good
Dark
outlet
sense
for
of
me.
humor was sneaking in there.
I mean, you've witnessed my sense of humor on stage. It's not the most light and fluffy thing in the world. It's
I
not
dig
super
it.
dark, but yeah. Thank you. I like having that. I like taking people on an emotional roller coaster, and I like having different juxtapositions that happen within what I do. I think it makes it interesting. I think it's not all one note, and then like something hits you in the face like out of the blue, and you're like, "Dang, that was dark." And it's like, anyways, we're moving on. So I think those are really key points. I
It's
think it's
bad. It's
important.
bad when I feel like I shouldn't have laughed, but it was funny. You know
Yeah, that's the point though. It's like you don't
Yeah.
want to laugh, but you're also like, I kind of have to. And
That
it's like
that
it's
guilty
when it's
laugh.
yeah, it's like it's like that little snicker under your voice. But I think yeah, I think there most people that get into like a lot of magic and a lot of artistic pursuits and things like that. I think a lot of us struggle with our mental health and something that I struggle with too, and I'm very open about that, you know. I think it's important to talk about it and destigmatize it because pretty much everyone suffers with it, and just make sure to check in with your friends. Check in with people that you
Yeah.
know have a tendency to suffer if you don't hear from them a lot. Um, and that's why I like to do magic the way I do too. Is like if I see someone that's going through a hard time, I go up to them and like say, you know, I get the feeling that you're going through a hard time, and I just want you to know that it's going to be okay. I had this one thing where one time, like, I saw someone and, like, I could tell they were probably going through a bit of a hard time, and I, like, wrote a note, and I was also, like, going to the bathroom, I dropped it in their seat behind them, and just, like, walked away, and I just went back and sat in my little corner, and I saw them open it and, like, look around like, "What the heck?" But it was, like, one of those moments, and like, started smiling and stuff, and I was like that was one of those moments I was like, "That's that's it.
It's
That's
a
it.
moment
That's
of creating real magic, isn't it?
exactly, yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
didn't do an effect for him, I didn't meet the person. I just saw something and I was like, I wanna do something. I wanna give them something just to let them know that they're cared about and they're loved. That's a big thing in my message too. It's like I want people to know that there are people that care. I don't care if I know you or not. You're still a person that I care about in that moment because you're a person who's been through something, and that's super important. We've all been through something, and
Yeah.
you know, I think connecting with people with that and being like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna get better. And even if it doesn't, you have people that love you and care about you. I'm a stranger. I still love you. I still care about you. It's still important that you know that. And spreading a message of like inspiration and positivity and letting people know you're not alone in this. You're not alone in anything. There is always people that
We
are
need more
there.
people like that.
Definitely. I agree. And that's like a beautiful thing about what we do. I think magic allows this beautiful platform to do that, to be able to inspire people and let them know it's going to be okay, and let them know that like every experience is beautiful, even the hard ones, because it puts you through things so that you can connect with other people. Some of the things that I've been through personally, I think I've been through so I can help other people and connect with other people and be like, oh, like I sympathize with you deeper than I can explain, but yeah, I sympathize with you so much on that because I've been through something similar enough that I can relate. And the way we relate is stories, is experiences, is saying things like that.
I definitely agree. With me, magic's definitely a form of escapism. I don't tend to open up as much as some people do, but
Yeah,
I kind of just use magic as a way. I don't know, I don't know how to explain it, but when I perform for people and you see the smiles, you see the astonishment, and it just makes me feel good. It
yeah,
really does.
same. Yeah, even if I'm doing like the most, that's what I say, like even my commercial work has a place and it has a reason. It's like in that sense, if I'm doing something that's just very standard across the board and not super deep and heartfelt, it's just to make people feel joy, feel laughter, and get out of their heads for a little bit. Because,
Yeah,
like, on one hand, yeah, I can do like this really deep and meaningful routine, and sometimes that's really important. That's exactly the time and the place and the thing that you need. And then sometimes you see someone and you're like, "This would bring them joy," you know.
um,
Um,
I'm 33.
I'm 24
Ari's 24.
and high.
Hello, welcome to the channel.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, we are talking about magic and emotion and uh,
Kind of everything.
yeah,
It's a
kind
free
of everything
therapy
all in
session,
one.
guys.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, Ari. I
That's
needed that.
yeah. I mean, I always feel like I need that. And that's why I like to discuss those things is cuz like a lot of people. Okay. Okay. A lot of people I think don't a lot of people suppress a lot of emotions and and I think like that's valid too. Sometimes it's exactly what you need is an escape and to turn them off. A lot of
Yeah,
times, like we turn them off for too long and then we kind of live around numb. I've been there, and kind of connecting back to that has been a big thing with me too. Because it's like I've met people and talked to people about really deep things, and I'm very much like a person that enjoys doing that because I'm like, hi, nice to
me
meet
too.
you. What is your deepest, darkest secret? It's
Oh
like
my God, that is funny. Yeah, I definitely
that's
get
like
into a lot
that
of those
level of thing.
conversations.
Yeah, me too.
The
Yeah.
universe and
Yeah, those
everything.
deep like philosophical conversations at like 2 a.m. where you're just like at a
Where
concert
it's like,
afterwards being like, so what is the meaning of life to you?
oh man, I've had a lot of
Yeah.
those conversations, and they are always great.
Yeah, they are always great and it's interesting to hear people's perspectives, and I think like people's perspectives is such a fascinating thing because it's all based on different things. And like I
Right.
was always a person like I had not in school but in a different realm of my life. I had like they gave us like one or two debate classes just for fun, and it was like such an interesting thing because it wasn't like I don't care to argue with someone about it. I want to hear what you have to
Right.
say. I want to hear what makes you tick. I want to hear what your experience was that led you to that belief.
I think that that's a big problem with people nowadays. They want to dismiss everybody if they don't agree with them
Agreed.
instead of having the conversation, when having the conversation is what's helpful.
Yeah, agreed. Like I think that's a big thing, and I don't like that. I'm like, I can disagree with you and I can agree to disagree with you and I will still be like, okay, you're my friend. Cool. Great.
Right.
We disagree on this
Exactly.
matter. I don't really care. I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were.
That
And
is
I'm
true.
like,
Some people will disagree on one thing and automatically we're not cool no
yeah.
more, or whatever.
Yeah, they'll like run for the hills and you're like, we disagreed on one thing. We got along so well other than that. And
Right.
it's
We
like,
have like
okay,
80, 90% everything else we're cool with, or we agree on,
exactly.
or
Yeah.
have in common. It's wild to me.
Yeah, it is wild, and I'm just like I'm very like just in that sense, people could think I'm like wishy washy. It's not that I'm wishy washy. I just think that everyone should love everyone.
I
And
agree.
I know that sounds like head in the clouds, la 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 la, ideology,
It
whatever.
does, but at the end of the day, there is truth to that.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like treat everyone as a human being, and we all have different emotions, and we're all different, but we're all still human, and we're all experiencing those human things together. And it's like
we all
just treat
bleed, we
everyone
all
with
cry.
kindness.
Yeah,
Yeah, and treat everyone with kindness as much as you can. And like, yeah, I mean, there are moments where that maybe doesn't. There's a difference between kindness and being walked over or walked all over, and that's an
yeah,
important distinction because people that are often really kind, it does happen to a lot, and it's a shame. And I think it's important to be kind to everybody and do what you can to facilitate that. But also, like, yeah, there are moments where you need to have boundaries and you need to know that that is like a space where you're just like, I need to have this wall up and be very careful. And in certain situations, yeah. I mean, and being kind to everyone until they give you a reason not to be. And then being like, okay, you're dismissed from my life.
yeah.
you
Cut them
know,
out.
cut him
Yeah.
out. Exactly. Yeah. It's like you're dismissed from my life. Get out. You disrespect me or whatever it is that they did to you. And it's like, okay, here, just shoot, get out kind of thing.
Well, you're not
Until
doing
you-
mentalism to me right now, are you?
No, not at all. This is just like, this
This
is life
conversation is
things.
yeah. This is funny.
Yeah. I think, and it's like I said, it's such a universal thing that a lot of people have had that experience in a different retrospect and different life
Do you have
things.
a
But
scar on your knee? No, I'm just
no,
playing.
I have a scar on my finger, both of my fingers.
Check out that gnarly
Yeah.
burn I was talking about.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Yeah. I have
yeah.
two on one on this finger and one straight through this one because when I was a kid, this one I got 8 stitches put in my finger because I opened a package with a fillet knife when I was like a teenager. And I cut my
No.
finger
Oh
open and
man.
they put like 8 stitches in my little tiny finger. And so now I have this weird like scar pattern on it. And then this one I caught on a mandolin when I was a kid cooking. So apparently I just shouldn't be allowed in the kitchen or with sharp objects. I'm just like, maybe
Oh,
that's why I steer away from most magic that has sharp objects, except for like one or two things that I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. That's worth
oh
the
boy.
risk.
The funny part, I was like, I was thinking of you know, certain effects. We were talking. I don't know. I think I mentioned a card stab
Yeah,
effect,
card
and I was
stabs.
like, I really want to do that. Um, but I was like, there's a lot of people that's been injured doing that, but now I really want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I want to do like one of the cool effects that you can get now is stab in the dark on penguin, and it's a really
Okay.
cool thing. It's a book stab, basically. You have
Oh,
someone.
that's right. Okay, I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I am working on a video with it now, and it's such a cool effect. And you just have to be careful. Don't hurt your audience members. That's the big key point. Is like I have
Yeah.
such a fear of hurting one of my audience members because I've seen like smash and stab done so many times, and there's that video that went viral of someone doing it
Oh,
wrong, and
yeah.
ow,
I
that's
I love the old Brian Brushwood video where
yeah,
he, you know what I'm talking about, where he goes down.
kind
It's
of
like
yeah,
yeah. There's like
yeah.
the yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's I would rather put and that's I will tell my audience they're like, "Am I gonna be in danger?" I'm like, "You're not gonna be in danger." I said, "I'll put myself in danger before I put you in danger."
I'll
Like,
definitely do that. Yeah, for
yeah, I'll
sure.
definitely be like, "Oh yeah, I will take the sharp pointy thing and stab it through my hand." Yeah, that risk is mine. I'm not gonna do it with you because yes, reasons.
Or I mean, you could just take a sharp stab, pointy stabby object and
Yeah.
stick it in your face or something like that. You know?
Yep, exactly. It's like, but you're putting yourself in danger, so it's like it is. That's
I
still
mean,
impressive as heck.
well, I live for it.
Yeah,
But it's actually pretty cool. I like doing it for people and being like, hey, want to see this cool optical illusion?
Yeah.
Check this out.
Watch. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but
I
that's a super interesting effect too. See, not a lot
Yeah,
of people do that, so it's really cool.
I'm actually thinking about. I didn't want to debut it here because I was thinking about having putting it in or hammering in whatever the case, and then like having it come out met by itself magically. So
That
I've
could be
been
cool.
playing
Yeah.
around with ideas
Yeah.
with that.
Then it's kind of turned from like a sideshow bit to like
Exactly.
a different bit. One of my favorite effects that is kind of like that is shameless plug. But Rocco has an effect called the Needle Project out. That's really cool. You take a needle, you can put it in your eye, show your hand clean, and then pull it out, or put it in your
Oh,
hand and then pull it out the other side. It's a really
I
cool
would
effect.
definitely be
So
interested in that.
yeah, yeah, go check that out. Rocco Colt, he has it. We are going to be putting it possibly on Nocturne Magic pretty soon. But if you want to go purchase it now, go purchase it from him. It's a really cool effect. I've done it. It's killed. I did it at like a house party music video that I did a while ago for a metal band, which sounds like the most
Do you
chaotic
have like
sights.
a short or a reel where you're doing that effect?
I don't. He does. So
Okay.
if you look up the Needle Project by Rocco Colt, he has one.
Okay.
I would say, let me see. I think I have it. Give me like 2 seconds. I hate to be
All
off
right.
screen during this, but that's how close I am to my wall. I have a very small space. Like, I can
Hey, I know
assure
how it
you.
is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no, this is a small
Trust me,
space.
I've lived in some places, so small you got to leave the room to change your mind.
Exactly. I feel that.
Sorry, it's just me on camera, guys.
Yeah, exactly. I think there is. You're right. There is like a small reel of me doing this. I figured I'd just why not do it in person.
I thought
So
there
I have.
was. Maybe I'm tripping.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I,
So there was a needle. You're right. I have done this before, and I totally forgot because I put these things out so
I
much.
studied your work for the interview and before that,
Thank you for
a
doing
couple of
that.
times.
Sometimes I don't know what I did. Clearly, you see, I have a needle now. Pain is all about mental, right? You see people that do crazy feats, like put a nail inside their nose and then take it out. You can also sometimes see people stab things through their skin, just like this. If you watch the needle, you just go like that, it goes straight into the skin.
Oh, that looks clean.
But you can take it and just pull it out like that.
That looks very clean. I like
Yeah,
that.
it's so good. So highly recommend that.
Huh. Okay. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, please.
That
It's
that's right up
awesome.
my alley
So
there.
yeah, definitely
All
check
right.
that out. Rocco's a fantastic creator. And Nocturne Magic's gonna be great. Coming out with our first effect, primary caps, pretty soon. I use
Okay.
that on stage too. I use it for both, but it's a very fun trick. Not used for that, although it can be used for that. I did a free will plot line with it. Can be used for a lot of different things, and you can let your imagination run wild with it. Sorry, sometimes my words get a little scrambled.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it's
Tongue
like that.
twisted. A little bit.
Exactly. This is real time, people. That's how you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trust me. I've been there
yeah.
more often than not, actually.
It's the same. Sometimes you're in performance, you're like, "Ba-da-da-da-ba-da-da-ba-da," and you're like, all
I'm
right, I'm just
trying
not gonna
to
talk.
enunciate, but it's
I'm
not
trying to
coming out right.
pronunciate my words and it's not working. You try to use a big word like juxtaposition, and people are like, what the heck does that mean? I'm like, it
Juxtaposition?
means, yeah,
I don't
juxtaposition.
even know what that means. What is that?
So
That's multiple positions or dex meaning?
juxtaposition is like opposites or opposing things. So like my
Okay.
entire
So
existence is kind of a,
okay.
yeah, my entire
That's
existence is kind of a juxtaposition because I'm a very bubbly and bright person and I wear all black. So contrast, yes, exactly. That's a good way to
I
put it.
see that. That's a very good way to put it.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a smart guy.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
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 Oxymoron. Good point.
We were all right. Are you talking about me or you? I'm so confused now. It's a joke for later. Anyway,
Something.
So uh, we were talking earlier about characters and stuff like that. I kind of felt like how you said your character's amplified. Mine seems to
Yes.
be more muted than I actually am in real life. So maybe I need
Interesting.
to play around with that.
Yeah, it can be an interesting thing. And with characters, it's interesting because obviously you can have one character, you can have multiples. And it can, I would say mine actually kind of varies because, like, for example, if I'm doing a baby shower, I will be like kind of more soft spoken like I normally am. Not a super shy person, but I'm moderately shy, I would say. And I would say for like baby showers and softer things like that, I tend to go with the more like heartfelt and softer, and I don't have to project as much and be so like high energy. Still high energy, but a little bit more like caring. And then like for a bar show like Speakeasy or anything else like that, it's definitely more like amped up, kind of energetic, hype sort of style. And for corporate, it's pretty good combination of both. I would say it's pretty like even keel, more commercial, kind of. Obviously, you have to be a little louder because you're with people, and oftentimes
Right.
it's pretty loud in those environments. But it's just very commercial, very like magician, but still me. So it ebbs and flows, and it changes depending on environment as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would say on stage, definitely amplified version of myself, whatever heightened version of myself that is, can vary and depends on the show, depends on a lot of different factors.
Now, I'm a big magic book person.
Yeah.
And we know we talked about books earlier. Do you have a favorite book?
Ooh, that's a
Yeah, I know,
good
tough one.
question. See, hmm,
I know it's like asking what's your favorite movie, what's your favorite song. There's just too many choices.
right. I think so. This is gonna sound like the most crazy thing ever, but it's not a book. It's like a little pamphlet I got at the flea market,
Okay.
and
What's that?
I don't know where it came from. I had never heard of it in my life. But this thing has a lot of methods in it. Other than this, I would say Banachek's Psychological Subtleties is a nice one if you're looking to learn a
Classic
lot
game.
of information. Um,
I
yeah,
just
there's a
recently got into the mentalism stuff, so I haven't picked that one up yet. But
yeah.
I've got a couple good ones back here.
Someone let me borrow it, and it was a very good read. It was very helpful to understand a lot of the nuances and stuff. I would say
There,
I
if I'm
watched a
not
lot.
correct me if I'm wrong, there's 3 volumes, right?
There's 3 volumes, I believe you are correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
mystery pamphlet. Yes, it's a mystery pamphlet. It is More Miracles in Mentalism, written and compiled by Bob Nelson, Nelson Enterprises. But yes, it is a mystery thing I got for like $1 or $2. And it's got a lot of good ideas in it. So it's got a lot of like routines in it, but I found a lot of the ideas outdated. However, outdated things are a very good source of information because you can find an outdated thing and figure out how can I turn it into a modern day thing. Like a
Right.
rope, shoelace. Like a
There's a lot of stuff like that, especially
yeah,
in card magic. Like how I had for example, I had something from what was it? If I can remember, it was a Ted Animan, something that he had on a book test, and I turned it into like an A-can type effect. So
yeah.
there's just so much,
There's a
especially the old
plethora
stuff.
and a myriad of information, and the new
There was a
stuff
lot
that
of
comes
different
out.
thinking back then. There's different ways you can turn it around now.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly, exactly. You read like something about this random idea, and you're like, oh, what can I do with that? It's like, oh, I can make it into this on the back of this, and change it around, and that's a big key part of being creative and creative thinking and things like that.
right?
And a lot of times, like my ideas will be random. Like I was at a place the other day and I saw something that was like a timer thing and I was like, "Oh, what can I do with that?" That's what I can do with that. Okay, good.
Yes, it is. It is
Yeah,
amazing to see the evolution.
definitely agreed
Um,
with that.
I like getting really old books too, just to kind of
Yes.
see, where things were back then, where they are now.
Yeah,
And then there's some gems in there too. You know,
definitely. And it's hard cuz you have to sift through them. and you have to sift through them like 3 times to find the good stuff sometimes, but be like, oh, that's a method I'd never heard of before, or it's a
Right.
method that they find in this thing. I'm really bad at quoting where something came from, but
I
like
write my stuff down. That's the only way I'm going to remember.
yeah,
I have a whole
writing
notebook
down,
back here.
yeah, writing
That
down
helps a lot.
things, yeah, notes app is a huge thing for me. It's always like, put it
I,
in the notes. Okay, it's 2 in the morning. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna go back to sleep.
I find that if I write it down physically, I tend to remember it a little bit better. For me personally, I
Yes,
know everybody's a little bit different with it, but
it's the same thing as we were talking about all the way back in the beginning of this. It was like the books and turning the page and having that sensory thing. It's very common that that is better way to remember things, and I do it too. My
we just
scripts
went
and
full
stuff.
circle.
Yes. I do write a lot of my scripts and stuff out on paper if it's a full script. That way, even if I know my script, I'll write it down on a piece of paper.
Right.
That way I'm like, okay, this is what it means, and it helps reinforce that information in your head.
Yeah. That would always
Is
help me with like if you're writing poetry or music or something like that, you're trying to remember
yes.
lyrics.
Yeah.
That was always that's something I learned earlier on.
Yeah. It's super important. Even in school. Well, I mean, I was in school, like electronics were a thing, but like I learned some on electronics, but I didn't do a lot. But it's also I was homeschooled. I grew up homeschooled. Yes, I
Really?
was that kid. Yeah.
Huh.
But I think it helped. I credit definitely a lot to my parents about the way that I think about things and like free thinking and just viewing things in a different light. I think I would not be as successful as I am had I been in like normal school because of the way my brain thinks. It is a little different.
That's what's wrong with me. All these dirty public schools.
Yeah, I mean,
um,
it can affect certain people in a different way, and it depends on the
yeah.
person, it depends on what your learning style is, and I think nothing against the public school system, but I think that there should be different paths in that schooling system for people that learn different because I'm not
Right.
an auditory learner. I'm a visual learner. I need to see it. I need to see it in front of me, both from the clean angle and the dirty angle, so that I understand what's happening. Because, like, I'll watch a coin routine and be like, okay, what did you do? And then it's like, okay, let me see it from the back angle so I know what I'm looking at, what slides I'm doing, what I'm doing. If you explain an idea to me, I'll usually comprehend it, but it's a lot more difficult. And when I'm learning, I need that physical or visual reinforcement.
Like Mendex stuff for me. I can learn pretty good audio, like because I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I created like a story and which shout out to Rick Lax. He has some really great material on helping you learn Memdeck material and just being able to memorize it. Um, but I took what he was throwing out there and I kind of made an entire story, like cohesive story out of it, and I just would
yeah,
listen to it like it was a podcast or something, and that really helped me a lot with that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like everyone learns differently. Like they said, like it's nice for individuality. It does depend on the individual. I agree with that
yeah.
completely. Because it's like, yeah, there are auditory learners, there are visual learners, there are hands-on learners. There are people that need someone to help guide their hands to do what they need to do,
I
and it
think I'm
helps
like
them learn
all three, depending on
the
what it
subject.
is.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
agreed.
Yeah,
Same, because like I find it really helpful if I have someone with me to be like, okay, I put my hand here and put it here, and that's how I get there. But I can like sometimes listen to audio things. It just makes it a little difficult for me.
right.
Yeah, I agree with that. Human brain's too complex for one way of teaching. I concur because we're all so different,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
everyone learns so differently, with especially with neurodivergence and neurotypical and all these things. And that's why I argue it's not really everyone's so different that it's crazy. And I think, yeah, it's super important to like know how you learn to and be able to reinforce that. And I
But
think
the
there should always
diversity
be
is what makes
tools.
things interesting because if
It
everybody was the same,
is.
this would be so boring.
It would be so boring if everyone was the same. And that's like
Yeah.
a pandemic in magic that I see a lot. it's a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
people
especially
look
where you're talking about like regurgitating the scripts and
yes,
that you
you'll
learn.
regurgitate scripts or regurgitate information, and it makes it boring. It's like, where's the difference? Like, I've been, I guess, being a female in Magic, I don't like to call upon that a lot, but it forced me to be a little different because, like, reading a lot of the scripts, it doesn't work. There are things
Right.
that wouldn't make sense for me to say, but make
I could
sense for
see
the
that.
person next to me. Yeah. So it's
Right.
like, okay, how do I change this? How do I make it fit me? And I honestly had to learn myself a lot when I first started Magic. I had to learn a lot about myself, and it was kind of like a journey because, like, um, with dance, like, yeah, it's a lot of kind of regurgitating information and regurgitating the steps that they teach you. And yeah, you're your own person, but it's a lot quieter, and you kind of like, I was a shy kid, so it made it a lot harder. And when I started Magic and had like all this freedom to tell the stories I want and what I wanted to do, I was like, crap, who am I? And that's a question we will forever ask ourselves. I think we'd never know the full answer to that. But finding what do I want to say was a big like block.
I mean, you are a different person, every set, what is this, 7 years,
7 years,
all
all your
your
cells in your
cells.
body replace.
All right.
Yep. So you are a different person
Smart
every
cookie.
7 years, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but also, yeah, it's like, okay, you live, you learn, you experience things, and then that experience deepens, and that deepens your way of thinking and the way that you view things and the way you explain things, and you change everything. And a lot of people get stuck on one thing, and it's like, no, continue evolving. Never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop evolving.
All right.
Yeah.
So, cards. I'm going to talk about cards real quick. Would you have
Yes.
a favorite effect that you like to perform, like something impromptu, or just something that it doesn't have to be impromptu, but something that you this is like your go-to effect with playing cards?
With playing cards, I am a very simple person. I really like doing
I doubt that.
an ambit. Well, I'm a complex individual, but with cards, I'm a pretty simple person. I like doing like um I like ambitious card of all things. Like, that is an effect that I learned when I first started, but it's still like a go-to astonisher for me. I like a basic like slot shuffle triumph. Um
I actually love
I
the slop shuffle triumph. Like
right?
it's
It's like
so
such an
good.
underrated thing. It's
It
so
hits so
good.
hard. It really
Yeah.
is. It really is. There's other little like subtleties you can use to extend it and make it look, even better. But just the basic slop shuffle triumph is such a hard hitter. I've had people
Yeah.
tell me, like I've shown them other stuff, and they're like, no, that was the best one.
Yeah.
It's like,
Same.
okay.
Yeah, okay. There's
Yeah.
also like there's another trick. I hate using the word trick. There's another routine that
I try to
is
say
off
effect, but I often say trick by accident.
same, yeah. It's like a I try my best. I'm learning.
Yeah.
There's a effect that is often used as like a force, but it can also be used in a way as like a chosen card at any number kind of effect. Was really interesting. So like,
Oh, okay.
guess I'll actually do it. I guess I'll do a little bit of magic, but this is, mind you, I am not the best magician ever, and please no one get on me in the comment section because I've had that happen before.
I will
So
not allow it.
hopefully, thank you. There's always a card that I have to get rid of there because So normally I'd have you shuffle, and I would oftentimes say like, I want you to have like an intuition with the deck. So shuffling allows you that intuition. For example, Ace of Hearts is going to be your card because I'll mix the cards like that, and I'll even give them a shuffle like this. I'm working in very small spaces, so if I look cramped, that's why.
You're
There's
great.
a wall literally behind me, and my desk is at a weird angle. So obviously, we had to mix up the cards to make sure that your Ace of Hearts was not on top. But we're actually going to use your intuition to find the Ace of Hearts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the cards like this and Just tell me whenever you want me to stop, say stop when you feel like it's coming up next.
Stop
Right there.
right there.
Right there. You're sure? You don't want to change your mind?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. You're happy with the mind you have. That's a good
Yeah.
place to be.
Right
Sometimes it
now,
might
I'm
be
very
mean to you,
happy.
but we'll find out. So you could have chosen any of these cards. You actually stopped at a Joker, which these have really cool Jokers. Could add any of these cards, but you felt like your Ace of Hearts was coming up here, and you were right. The Ace of Hearts was the next card it would have turned over. So
Nice.
that's an interesting handling that's often used as a force, but I find it as an interesting as a routine too.
That's funny. I actually used something similar. Um, I used something similar where the spectator cuts the deck. They can cut
Yeah,
the deck anywhere they want, and you know already what I'm talking about. I'm
yeah, kind
sure.
of. Got an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Uh, favorite card. Do you have a favorite playing card?
Uh, I have a couple. And they're for different reasons. So the Queen of Spades, because obviously, like it's just it fits. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Also the Three of Hearts is another favorite one because there's this thing called cardology, and everyone has a playing card associated with their
Oh,
birthday, and that one is mine. So that's another favorite of mine. But
that's right. I forgot about
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's interesting.
All right. Well, how about this? If I were to take, let's see here, the two jokers, right? If I were to take these two jokers and tell you without even going back to the deck, just the two jokers here, and tell you I make your card appear in the middle. Would you believe me? I'm full of
That'd be
nonsense.
impressive.
Oh, it's not gonna happen. It might happen. All right, check this out. You ready?
Yep.
And there it is. Oh, no, it's not there. But actually, if you look closely, it's the three of hearts.
That's great. That's wild. I love cards that have those like little things in them. A lot of black roses have them too, which are
Yeah,
great to use. I've
split
used those.
spades or any
Yeah,
David Blaine deck has that
yeah.
type of stuff.
I love those little things, especially if you do like I believe it's called Gemini twins. You can
Oh
do
yeah,
yeah. I've done
I
that
love
with
Gemini twins.
yeah, I've done black roses with Gemini twins because there's two cards in there that have two reveals that match up with another one if you set the deck right.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting
Oh,
concept.
cohorts also has that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Daniel Madison
interesting.
does have a lot too. You're right.
I
A
didn't
lot of
I
his.
didn't think about that. Huh.
Yeah,
That's a cool way to do that.
yeah. Remedies have a lot of them. He's right.
Okay, so Queen of Spades, Three of Hearts, and you said you had a couple. Is there any more?
I would say Six of Clubs is one of them for no apparent reason other than I like the card.
S-
It's fun.
Oh, okay. Six of
Um,
clubs.
yeah.
But say stop.
Stop.
Oh, it's so hard with the delay here. You right? Oh,
Stop.
all right. Let's try this one more time. But all right. Just try to say stop. I guess quicker.
Stop.
Right there.
Yep.
Oh, three of clubs. I was close.
Close.
Trying to get it. Close enough cigar.
Close enough.
Close enough, right?
Close to my
Uh,
other one. So
Spontaneous.
yeah.
There's a little technique I'm working on. When it comes to like the dribble force.
Hmm.
I've been working on. Still working on it, obviously.
Yeah, dribble forces are an interesting beast of themselves. They're very fascinating and very touchy thing to deal with, and it's definitely by feel. Like everyone's like, "Oh, it's so
They
easy." I'm
can be.
like, it can be easy, but it can be getting that feel exactly right is
Yeah,
a
it
challenge.
will. It's like if you're trying to fool a magician with it, then that's the kind of where it becomes a little more difficult, so
Yeah,
to speak. So
yeah,
let's see. See if I
definitely
can
that. I mean,
redeem.
speaking of forces, I'll ask you a question. What's your favorite force?
Oh, um, that's a tough one because it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Honestly, let's see. Oh, there we go.
There it is.
There it is. I knew it was in there somewhere.
Yeah,
This one I'm working on is really cool. My favorite force. The call is very useful.
definitely.
Um,
That's
the
also one of the
classic
best moves for
force.
a peak, I would say, is a cull.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Um, classic force. So, I mean, if let's say, uh, let's say, let me do something like this here. Let me try something. So, when we're talking about like the call, I usually do something along the lines of I start going through the cards and I say, hey, just touch one of these cards, anyone you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's say you say this card here, and then I show you that you stopped at your other
Yeah.
favorite card. So that's one of the ones that I do, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
Let me think here. Let me grab this because I think I got what I need here. So another one that I do often. Do I have what I need here? I sure do. Great. So let's say ahead of time, I'll use my favorite card. I'll
There you go.
make it a little easier here. So one of my favorite things to do, whether you're dribbling, because there's a lot of ways to do this, but whether you're and of course all the cards can be shown ahead of time, but the cards can be shuffled. Doesn't matter. Um, let me give them a fair shuffle. That way you don't think I'm cheating here. But um, what was I going to say here? Oh, I completely lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, you could stop the cards anywhere you like, or you could have this. One of the things I like to do is say, you know what, just cut the deck anywhere you want. They cut the deck, and then
Yeah.
say, okay, great. Just flip the cards over, and then we'll spread them out. And usually I spread them out on a table, but you
Yeah.
stopped at one card in particular. I'm out totally off camera. You stop.
Yeah.
You can see where you stopped at, and then I kind of do like a time delay. So I'll just spread these cards out and say, this is where you stopped. We'll come back to that later, and then show that they stopped at my favorite card. Or
Yeah.
and then sometimes if I'm doing that, I'll be like, oh, this is the card you stopped at, and then I'll flash my little two of hearts
Yeah.
tattoo there.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite stuff. But there's
Yeah.
way too many. Classic Force can be underestimated. A lot of people don't like it, for some reasons, but
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one that you have to get used to. Like, I'm still playing with it, still getting used to it and stuff like that. But
it's it's
especially,
um it's a timing thing, really. Like
it is a timing thing and a misdirection thing. It's a lot of different things within one. Best classic force I've ever seen was Magic Ballet's. His classic force is so good.
Magic
It
Valet.
just
I'm gonna have to look that up.
yes. Yeah, he owns Don't Blink Magic Shop of New York.
Uh,
Great guy. Super nice. I've only ever been to two brick and mortar shops and his was the best one. I would argue to say his is the best brick and mortar that exists, but I could be wrong, but I think I'm right, so we'll go with that. He's just a super sweet guy.
where's that located? New York.
New York, yeah.
Okay,
If you look up Don't Blink Magic Shop on Instagram, he's got the
from
address in
New
the
York.
caption.
I'm actually from Queens
Oh, cool.
originally. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um.
am from Florida, born and raised, but not Orlando. I grew up in Jacksonville, moved up north for a couple years,
Okay.
Milwaukee, Fort Wayne, and then moved back down here.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
Did
dancing
you
both of those places, so
did you miss it down here?
I did. I don't know. I'd never really had any sort of feelings about where I was. I just knew like I did what I did. I mean, when you dance, you spend 8 hours in a dance studio a day. You don't
Yeah.
really care what state you're in. You don't really do much. So, or at least I didn't, because I was also a
Do the
workout.
work and come home. Yeah.
Yeah, you do the work and come home. And I also worked out a lot at home because I have always had this thing where it's like I want to be the best at what I do. And now as an adult that that's not necessarily possible, but I want to be as good as I can be. I want to be the best I can be. That's the goal. And work hard. Don't forget to have fun though. Like, one regret
you're
I
doing
have
great.
when thank you. That's one regret I have when I was younger is I was so driven that I forgot to have fun, and everyone told me I'd regret it, and a little bit, yeah, but also I've had more fun in my adult life, I think, so it's been nice to have a nice work-life balance, and I think
Right.
Magic's definitely given that to me too, because it's fun, because it's something you need to go have interactions to practice, and I try my best to do that, or just, like, casually with, like, people, with friends, with whatever it is, so
You asked me what my favorite force was. There's this effect that I do. Uh, there's this effect that I do that's not necessarily a force, but it can be used as a force. And the great part about it is the way that I do it. I kind of altered it to match, my own thing. But one of the great things that I like about it is you can have the spectator shuffle the cards all they want before going into it. So I'm going to use that as a force. So that's not exactly the case, for example, but
yeah,
um, after they finish shuffling, whatever the case is, whether maybe you palm something off, whatever the case is, but you have to get. All right, let me just go into it.
yeah,
You tell your spectator, go ahead and start dealing cards down onto the table, and at some point, just say stop.
stop,
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take the rest of the cards, shuffle them up, and I'm gonna, you know what, we'll just do it like this, deal some down, and tell me stop again.
stop,
Right there, shuffle the cards up, make a mess, and here, put some cards down here, make sure everything's nice and mixed up. I'll just go ahead and
yeah,
mix them all up, right? Like this, square everything up. And then I would ask the spectator, is there anything possible that I could know about the order of these cards? No, right? Probably not. But you can't trust me because I'm a magician. So we'll take that top card and we will burn it somewhere in the middle for obvious reasons. And we'll take the bottom card and we'll burn it somewhere in the middle. And I'm going to keep these cards low so I can't see anything. And at that point, I'm handing them yeah, just give them the deck and tell them to deal down about halfway whenever they feel they're about halfway. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and just, without counting, without thinking about it, you can put multiple cards, doesn't really matter until they're about halfway. And I feel that's probably about half. Then I would ask them something along the lines of about how many cards do you think you're holding there? Do you think it's about halfway? Is it about 26? Is it about 30? You think it's more or less? What are you thinking here? I'm thinking it's probably less
yeah,
than half, but somewhere around there. Uh, then I asked them just in case, so there's no way I could possibly know anything, to take that top card and cut it into the middle, take that bottom card and cut it into the middle. Then I would have them just peek at whatever card that they're left with there at the bottom. I'm going to look away. Got it?
yeah,
Okay. Then I'll tell them to cut that card into the middle, shuffle the packet up, just like this. Uh, they can shuffle it some more if they want to. It's really up to them. Then to take the entire packet and put it into the middle of everything, and then give the entire deck a shuffle. And at this point, I can play it any way that I want
mhm,
to, because I'm 3 steps ahead.
yeah,
So um, your card was the Queen of Spades.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's probably one of my favorite things that I love to do because it's really fooling.
yeah, it
Um,
seems really fair.
yeah, it's definitely pretty fair. Get this thing right. There we go. So that's something
Definitely.
I like to do all the time. I was thinking about it. I'm like, hey, that's something I do all the time. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What
definitely.
about
We
you?
all have
What do
effects that are
you?
fallbacks.
Oh yeah, that one not only a fallback, but that one I've fooled a lot of magicians with it too.
Yeah, yeah,
Believe it or
yeah,
not.
it's very, very fair.
Yeah. Do you have a particular force that I know you said you're working on the classic force. Do you have something that
I'm working
you?
on the classic. I would say I'm very simple. Riffle force or slip cut force.
Slip cut force is so underrated
It is underrated, and I figured out an
for
interesting
professionals.
subtlety.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
there's an
Let me see.
interesting subtlety I personally like to do. So I'd say, like, tell me when to stop for us to get to the end of the deck,
Oh,
please.
oh, you're telling me. Okay,
Yeah,
stop.
sorry. Good
Sorry,
there.
I hate when that happens.
You're good. You're good.
Um,
So I'd say, like, we're not going to use that card because obviously I've seen it, you've seen it, we've all seen it. But go ahead and take a look at that card. And then that was my force card, which I forgot to look at. But obviously that's
it'd
like
be like
too
that
space.
sometimes.
But
Yeah.
I like separating the packets and then doing this often. Like, often when you see me actually do it in person, I would go here, I'd go here, I'd show this card, not this one, and then go to slip it. And the reason that is because, like, your natural range of motion to show something is here.
Right.
But then, like,
It's also
going
like a
here,
piece
and
of
then you can go
misdirection
here.
too.
Yeah. And if you're in person, you can show it here, and then as you're turning, you slip it.
Oh, let's see.
It's a
So
weird subtlety that I
something,
found.
something like this. Say we're not going
Yeah,
to use this card here. We're going to go ahead and use this card. So
kind of. Yeah.
along
So
that.
I don't even slip it. I don't slip it immediately. I leave
Oh, you
it.
don't.
I leave this open. I've not done anything. I've just opened here, pointed here, slipped in action.
Oh shit! I didn't even catch that. That
So
is cool. I didn't think
it's
about
a
that.
really weird subtlety that just, yeah. I
Huh.
mean, because if you were gonna stop, you're gonna stop here. But
Right.
pointing to this is justified because you're telling them not that one, and then
Right.
there, and it covers most of what you're doing.
I like that.
Thank you.
I learned something new. That's awesome. I'm probably gonna end up using that. I really like that.
Yeah, thank you. It's having studied, like, movement and stuff too. It's like, okay, what's the most natural movement if I'm not doing something questionable? And we all talk about that a lot, but it's like
Right.
really analyzing that. Plus, it just felt natural. I was like, I don't like I don't like holding it here when I'm gonna do it. So I'm just like, open the hands, do it
It's sort
there.
of like top change. You're with
Top
the
changey,
gesturing,
yeah,
right?
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
in
if
a
if
way.
I think if you gesture with the top change
Yeah,
and you say something, it
yeah,
always passes over people's heads.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a
Versus
key
like just
thing.
simply standing there and
Yeah, it's
uh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you can just stand there and do like eye contact and you'll get away with it. But
Right.
oftentimes, if you have more than one spectator, it's best to kind of go in motion and see what you can do with
Right.
that. It's just all about doing, finding those
I
things
You
out
know
and
what I
figuring it
love?
out.
Speaking of that, I love two card Monty.
Yes, it's a very, very
I,
good trick. I don't do
I
it.
love it so much. You
I
don't?
don't do it. I did it for a while.
What?
And the reason is because in character development, I realized my character's not a gambler. I would have no reason to be a gambler.
Okay, so me, I don't play it off like that. I play it off as see the way I do it is, hey, have you ever seen how magicians swap out cards and then I'll do a color change or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Can
that
I
makes
show you
sense.
how that works?
Yeah.
And so they're thinking that I'm gonna show them, like teach them something. They don't
Right, yeah.
know what's gonna happen, and
That makes
that
sense.
always kills.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that totally makes sense. And that's a good like reframe of that because it was like, and that's a great trick. I like it. I just
yeah.
don't do it enough. I mean, I love the simplest thing. The last trick of Dr. Daly kills every single time. Every single person you do it to. It's hilarious, but it's great. It's like one of the first tricks we all learned.
The
The last
last
trick of
one,
Dr. Daly.
maybe I'm having a brain fart right now. Show me.
Yes. Give me a second. See if I remember the setup. I don't do this very often.
Yeah, I
Da,
think
da, da.
this one either flew over my head or I'm completely void right now of a thought.
It's like that. See if I do this right. That's the real question. So this is the Ace of Hearts, right? If I take the Ace of Hearts and I put it down on the table and I show you, that's the I did this wrong already. That's all right. That's the Ace of Clubs again. I have okay.
You
I'm
know what?
not
I think you're
kidding.
doing a whole nother trick.
I think I'm doing a whole other trick at this
I
point.
like it.
Uh, I really actually don't know what I've done here. I think that's what I did wrong. That's where I was going for. I was going for the ace of diamonds. I take the ace of diamonds and put it down here. So like that, we have the ace of hearts and ace of diamonds over here, and that's the two black
Okay.
aces. I
I
totally
got
spaced
you.
on how to set this up. I won't lie.
It's okay. I've trust me, I've done it plenty of
Yeah, it's
times.
like, I will review that. I apologize to all the people watching now.
Hey, like I said, I messaged you. We could handle that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like the first. I think that's one of the first tricks I probably learned. So my brain's like, "How do we do this?"
Yeah, I mean,
Because I'm so used to doing like the twisting the aces before I do it. So then
yeah.
that automatically sets it up for
Okay,
that, and so I don't think about setup. And then I'm like,
that makes sense.
it started
Twisting
raining
the aces
outside.
is another one that's good, but I don't do it
Yeah,
often.
same. Yeah, it is a very good one, and it's very like I always did it as I taught. Like I would teach. I do it at a kids show, and people say kids can't comprehend cards. They can. You just have to explain it to them first. I
My
always say,
daughter's 6 years old, and she's already like really likes playing cards and wants to
yeah,
learn the magic. I taught her
exactly.
Poker Players Picnic,
Yeah,
and like that's the every time like she wants to show somebody a card trick, she pulls that out.
yeah. I think it's, and I just go through a lesson about like what each card means so they know what they're looking at. So I go through the aces. I produce them the four aces. Say that's the trick of a, or the point of a good magician is thankful for kind four aces. I go, this is like the ace of hearts. We all have a heart. Put your hands on your heart so you can feel it. It keeps you alive almost like magic. And you go, this is the ace of clubs or the ace of puppy dog feet because it looks like a little puppy dog foot.
I like that. It's
And
funny.
that's not mine. Someone else told me that. And then the ace of spades is the ace of pointy leaves because it looks like a little pointy leaf. And then the ace of diamonds is like a diamond, like you would see a person wear around their neck or in their ears or on their finger. We're going to do something with these, and then I go into twisting the aces, and then they kind of know what they're looking at, and they kind of have like this comprehension
I
of what
see.
it is. And then you can do like the last trick of Dr. Daly with it and have it switch in their hands and it interacts with them. So I think it's
Okay.
about like explaining it to them, but also making it a moment where it's just like, oh,
I like that.
yeah.
It's a cool setup.
Because when I've done kids stuff, and I do kids stuff too, a lot of it's not typical stuff you'd find in a kids thing, and it's not because of anything of anything. It's just when I started doing it, I couldn't afford to buy the stuff that most magicians do in their kid sets. So I took all the
Right.
stuff that I had, bought maybe like silks and things like that to do a couple of things with, and made it a simplified version of my adult, or not my adult show, but like the stuff I do for adults typically in a walk around set or anything like that. And I even do mentalism with kids. I have Leopold the mind reading bunny. He's like a little stuffed bunny. He looks kind of spooky. And that's he's my little helper, and you gotta rub the card on his head so he knows what you're thinking of. And it's just like this cute little interaction bit with
Yeah.
them. I get them to come up. I use like ESP cards because it's very easy for them to comprehend. And the wavy lines are like bacon. Everyone likes bacon. They know I'm a vegetarian and I
That's
like
true.
bacon. So just find veggie bacon. You're great. It's good. Coconut bacon is good. I found it a while ago. It was really good.
Oh,
It's like
interesting.
coconut soaked in like liquid smoke and soy sauce, I think, and it kind of tastes like bacon-ish. It could be because I've been vegetarian for like 13 years now.
Wow. Really?
I
13
was really
years?
young. Yeah, I
Wow.
was 10 or 11 when I was veg. Was it 10 or 11? It was 10, so almost 14 years now.
So
Um,
that's your secret.
yeah, that's my secret. That's how the magic happens.
I get it.
Um, I just never really liked the taste of it, so I was like, I'm gonna go vegetarian. And my mom was like, okay, but we gotta make sure you get proper nutrition. And so I went down the rabbit hole of learning about things. I've always had that thing with hyperfixation, so I learned a lot about nutrition and made sure I got protein and everything that I needed. And it could be why I didn't grow past 5 foot, but I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Yo, that's funny.
I'm just like, I think I just didn't grow because both my parents are short, and also I stopped growing when I was perfect, and some of us mature faster than others. So
That makes sense to me. I agree.
like being short, but I also think it's like an interesting advantage. Like in some ways, it's like eh, always be a good like hugging height, and I'm pretty tiny, so it's interesting on stage because people are always like, "Wow, you're a lot shorter off stage." I'm like, "Yeah, I am," but I also wear 5-inch platforms, so I'm at least 5'5" on stage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he's like, "You're not that tall."
Well, I mean, you get to say fun size, so that's always great.
Yeah, I'm fun size. I'm travel size for your convenience. It's the joke
Travel
if I'm like
size.
riding in an Uber, riding in an Uber. I go, I'm travel size for your convenience.
Anytime you hop on a plane, you gotta say that.
Yes, it's Mushi from Milan. I think was who originally said that.
Oh God, I haven't seen Mulan in so long. It's
I
a good
know it's
one.
been a while.
Classic.
Yeah, classic.
I'm gonna have to show that to my daughter. She's like, we're starting to like slowly show her all these Disney movies and stuff like that. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to show her that. She'll like it.
definitely. It's a great movie. That I loved Pocahontas and Lilo and Stitch as a kid too.
Yeah.
Some of the
They're
key
coming out with a live action Lilo and
they
Stitch. Have you seen
are.
it?
I'm definitely gonna see that when it comes out. I think it comes out in a couple weeks. So yeah, really,
Speaking of
really
that,
excited.
off completely off topic of magic, but do you have a favorite film?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have a few of them, although I will admit I don't watch a lot of TV. I think last movie I watched was March, maybe. I don't watch a ton of TV or anything, but serious movie I always really liked like 7 Pounds was really good with Will Smith. It's a very interesting and thought provoking movie. A lot of people haven't seen it. It's a good movie, underrated. Labyrinth is another really good one with
Labyrinth,
David Bowie.
classic,
Yeah. Like my
classic. Yeah.
wallet says the babe with the power.
That's
That was
funny.
like playing. I went to go see a
Yeah.
friend of mine perform the other day, and like that song was playing, and he goes, "You remind me of the babe," and I go, "The babe with the power." Or no, yeah. He said, "You remind me of the babe. What babe?" And I said, "The babe with the power." And he was like, and then I like pull out the wallet, and everyone's just like,
The Babe with the Power. That should be your little catch line.
that should be the
I
little
love it.
catch line. I should
Yeah.
try that and see. Fun little nickname. I
AKA.
love that movie so much, and
Yeah.
I think David Bowie's like a big, almost influence in a way because he's so like authentically not afraid to make decisions and like make bold choices with like outfitting and the way that he was, and I think that's really cool. Lilo and Stitch, definitely Disney movie. I loved that movie when I was a kid. That was like I would go on road trips with my parents and I would like watch that every single road trip for like an hour on end or however long the movie is, and then watch it again and be like, I love this movie. And the
Yeah,
TV
I've
series
had
when I was
a
little.
couple films on repeat.
Yeah. The TV series when I was little too, because they would play it on like 7
Oh,
a.m. in the
that's right. They did
mornings.
have a show. Yeah.
And then as an adult, I'm like a later riser. But as a kid, I was an early. Your
Yeah,
schedule
working
shifts a little
nights,
bit.
I get it. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, I woke up 1 o'clock. I was like, oh God.
Oh goodness.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Got like 5 hours of sleep, but we're gonna do it.
Oof.
We got this.
Yeah, we got it. We've
Got
been running
this.
for almost 2 hours now, which is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, time kind of flies by when you're having a good
It
conversation.
definitely does. And
Yeah.
that's such an important thing. So
For sure, we're gonna have to do it again sometime in the future,
agreed.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I would love that.
And do you want to cut it off here?
We should probably cut it off here. But I've
That
really
sounds about
enjoyed
right.
this. It's been awesome.
Me
Thank
too.
you so much for
And
having me on.
no, thank you. Let everybody know where they can find you, social media wise.
For sure.
Nocturne Magic has some
Yes,
amazing stuff coming up.
for sure. So on Facebook, you can find me as Ari Rose. On Instagram, at Ari underscore magical underscore life. Also Nocturne Magic. I believe that's just the name of it. It should be linked in my stuff. My website, which is arirosemagic.com. Yeah, my email is arirosemagic.com, same thing. Or
So if somebody
arirosemagic
wants to
at
hire you for a gig, that's where they're gonna
yeah, if you
go.
want to hire me for a gig,
Okay.
it's arirosemagic@gmail.com is my email. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the ways to find me. I'm also on TikTok as Ari_magical_life. For all of the people that use those different platforms. Don't have a YouTube yet. May start doing it. Haven't decided yet. We'll figure it out. But
You should.
yeah, those are,
Also, I mean, everybody that you do have a channel though, right?
yeah, I
It's
do have a channel. I just haven't done
obviously
anything with it.
right. Go subscribe to her channel. I'm gonna tell everybody to subscribe to your channel.
Please do.
If you, yeah, if you love magic, go subscribe to her channel. I'm sure you're gonna have some amazing things coming up. And
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know, Ari, you are one of my favorite magicians.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me on too. This has been a blast and a great
Sincerely.
conversation.
Yeah, it was great. Great having you on,
Yes.
and keep in touch.
Yes, you as well. All right. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.